Lounge Radio. With your hosts, Dark Sakura, Sky, and Loki.
This week, gaming has its head in the cloud as two new players enter the scene with their own video game and media streaming services. Also tonight, we're interviewing Mike Bilder from Jackbox Games about all things Fibbage and more. Get your trivia caps on and join us for all this and more on the show where every gamer has a voice.
Orange Lounge Radio.
Hello, my friends out there on the internet, and welcome back to another week of the show where every gamer has a voice. It is Orange Lounge Radio, live with this episode number 568 for September the 21st of 2014. My name is Rob Roberts, here with you over the next few hours to talk about video games, gaming culture, and the gamer lifestyle with my co-hosts. Not here tonight, unfortunately, in studio, Dark Sakura. She has the night off, a little bit unexpectedly / last minute, too. She threw out her voice, which obviously doing a radio show needs a voice. She said she would try to pop into chat a little later on, but unfortunately we will not be having Dark Sakura until next week. So Jamie, if you're out there listening, feel better. We miss you. Joining us in studio, though, we do have, of course, Techmaster Loki.
Yes, I don't misplace my voice.
Yes. Sadly, you still have yours to complain
Yes.
about who knows what tonight. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. It's fantastic to have you here. Loki, you brought the studio a present this week, I notice.
Yes.
So I'm very excited to have this little arcadey machine thingy, I guess.
It's a bar top MAME cabinet.
I love that. That's awesome. So I'm gonna set that up in the studio somewhere, and they'll be good times.
Yep.
Good times.
Because it hasn't been getting any use at my work, so hopefully it'll get a lot more use here.
We will definitely make use of it here. So folks in our chat room, again, we do tape live every Sunday night at 6 o'clock Pacific, 9 o'clock Eastern, right after the Bobby Blackwolf Show at the Voice of Geeks Network, vognetwork.com. And Alan Alchemy in chat saying, let's play What Drive-Thru Did Loki Bring to the Show? Well, we do always talk about food at the top of the show, so...
Well, here's the thing. I had to get something to eat, but I wasn't that hungry, so I just stopped at McDonald's because it was on the way. It was the quickest thing I could get to, and it really not that good.
You literally settled tonight. You just settled.
It was like, I don't even really want to eat this. I'm just eating some of it just because I know I'll get hungry if I don't eat anything. So that's why, because it was literally the fastest thing I could find.
All right. Well, so there you go. If you had McDonald's in the betting pool tonight, there you go. You win. I don't know what the odds were on McDonald's, but there it is. Hey, I want to introduce this fine young man to our program, filling in for Dark Sakura tonight a little bit last minute. Appreciate having him here. If you ever visit vognetwork.com, you've probably seen him around. He's like our #1 fan and stuff. Say hello, everybody, to Flaco Jones.
Wait, I can't do the show if I throw out my voice?
No. That sounded
Just
creepy.
kidding. Yeah, I know. That's scary.
That was
That's
very scary.
Like channeling Batman
Harvey
there.
Firestein meets PT. I don't know.
Well, it's great to have you here in studio. How have you been since the last time we saw you?
I've been doing pretty well. My computer at home broke, so I can't ever guest on Horde House anymore. So I just show up live for this one.
Well, when you live in the same town, it's an easy thing to do. And when you're the brother-in-law of a co-host of mine on another show, it makes it, you know where I live and stuff. It makes it very easy.
I always know where you live. I slept on your couch one time when my house got flooded.
Actually, now we're making it sound a little creepy.
Yeah, I know where you live. Wait, my voice went out again.
I slept on your couch once, and you didn't know about it. No, anyway.
I asked permission.
And you're getting lots of highs and hellos in our chat room over at live.vognetwork.com. ActDef says, Flaco Jones sounds like the lady from the anti-smoking commercials. That is a little bit what it sounds like there.
I'll take it as a compliment.
There you go.
I don't know.
So, hey.
She's famous.
Mentioned in the intro at the top of the show, we got a really cool interview tonight. I'm excited to bring Jackbox Games onto the show tonight, which they are the creators of You Don't Know Jack, which, epic game show game, right? And then they have this new game that's out on PlayStation 4 was this past week. I believe it's also on Xbox One, was out a couple weeks ago. And I believe it's also an iOS game. We'll get
and PS3.
We'll get all the it's like a cross-buy thing, right? We'll get all the details on that. But you actually introduced me to this game. So Flaco, in a way, it's cool that you're here tonight because you introduced me to Fibbage, and now here we are interviewing the studio that made it. So
yeah, I think that's crazy how that worked out. Like, I watched your stream and I saw you kind of hinted like, oh, we got a special guest. Like, oh, who was it? Shane? Oh no, Shane was the main guest. And like, who else could it be? And then you said, when I saw that they dropped in on that, I was like, that's amazing.
You know what's funny is that I'd actually sent my email off before that, but I noticed they were on Twitter and I had been promoting, the Fibbage stream, and I saw that my thing was getting favorited and liked, and I was like, or whatever. Favorited and likes really the same thing, isn't it? Favorited and all that stuff.
Favorited and retweeted. Yeah.
So I was like, oh, these guys, are scour. What's the worst that happens if I send off an email? What's going to happen?
Yeah, after we played that night, I replied to some of those tweets, and then they favorited and retweeted some of my tweets. I was like, that's weird.
And I love that when
I love it when that happens. Like I've also had not communication, but just that same experience with when I played Unfinished Swan. I played on Super Bowl Sunday, like, hey, everyone's watching the big game, and I'm playing Unfinished Swan. It's amazing, and the guy like retweeted it. Like, that's awesome.
That's awesome. How did you find out about Fibbage? Because honestly, like as much as I love You Don't Know Jack, this was not on my radar somehow. I found
out through Shane.
Oh, really?
Like Shane told me like a couple weeks ago, hey, the guys that made You Don't Know Jack made a new game called Fibbage, but it's only on Xbox One right now. So I was like, well, I can't wait till that comes out on PS4, but I thought it'd be another long thing. Like I've been waiting for Peggle 2 forever. So I thought it'd be another long thing, but it was only a couple weeks, I guess. And he came over on a Tuesday. He's like, oh, by the way, that game I told you about is out today. I'm like, I'm buying it right now. So I used the app, I bought it, and then we played it right then and there. And Shane contacted you. He, tried to get a hold of Xtifer. We tried to get a little game going right there, and it was good. It was fun.
It
had a couple bugs on opening night, but it seems like it worked great since then.
Yeah, and I was just blown away by the fact that here you were streaming it on Twitch TV, and I was playing the game with you, and it's not even that technology Sony was talking about when they first unveiled the PS4.
Yeah.
And, like it wasn't even that. It was just like I'm like playing this game show, and I love my game show games. I never shut up on this show about Microsoft killing off 1 versus 100.
You know what other game you're going to be able to do that with probably? That new Just Dance game that they have.
What? What are you talking about?
You remember they have the Just Dance game with the cell phones?
No, bring me up to speed on this.
Yeah, it's a Just Dance game, and it uses cell phones. It's like the controller. So I think it interacts with the TV as well. Like they have something displayed on the TV. But you basically log into a website just like you do, I guess, on Fibbage. But so, like, if you want to play over a stream, I mean, obviously playing a rhythm music game over a Twitch stream probably not as good, but still, it could be possible, I guess.
Interesting. So Flaco, you're a big fan of all these like game show things. You have fond memories of You Don't Know Jack, which is another game.
You Don't Know Jack,
right?
Specifically because my friend Bobby back in high school was like, I've got these.
You knew Bobby Blackwolf in high school?
No, different Bobby.
Different Bobby.
I don't want to say his last name, but he was a really good friend of mine.
We'll say Bobby B. No, wait, Bobby C.
Bobby L is
okay,
appropriate.
all right.
That's close enough. So yeah, he had these CD-ROM games, and he's like, you got to come over and just playing with me. And that's where you play on the keyboard, and everybody gets a key on the keyboard, and you press the button to ring in. If you think your buddy doesn't know it, you hit S after that to screw him. And we played all those things. We found all those Easter eggs. If you type in fuck you, it says fuck you too, and then reduces your score by like 1,000. It's like, oh, did I say fuck you? I meant fuck you, and your score reduces by like 10,000 more. It's crazy. It was so much fun. And then if you play on New Year's Eve or 4th of July, it has little things where Cookie will, in the introductions, will rip you for playing on a holiday or mock you in your loneliness for being antisocial on a very social holiday.
I remember some of that.
It was great. And they still have trophies like that in the last version of You Don't Know Jack that was on consoles. They had trophies like that. Like if you play on 4th of July, it's like, oh, how unpatriotic of you is like the trophy that you get.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
All right, well, we will talk plenty more about You Don't Know Jack and Fibbage and so forth with Mike when he comes on here in about 15 minutes. So until we get to that, and by the way, you guys can, of course, participate if you guys have questions and memories and all that good stuff. Live.vognetwork.com, of course, is the place to be. Let's talk a little bit before we get into, we always do a kickoff topic at the top of the show before we get into our gaming week, and this will probably carry us to the interview. So we'll get to our gaming weeks about 7 o'clock tonight. But let's talk about Tokyo Game Show. It's obviously the big thing that everybody's talking about, everybody's looking at, and we're seeing things from trickling in on the internet. And I know Akuma JP is probably there. I don't even see him in chat, so he's probably recovering. But what about from this side of the ocean? What have you guys kind of been looking at that's been coming out of Tokyo Game Show? Have you guys seen any neat trailers or things for things coming out that look exciting? I'm sure, Flaco, you got into this like everybody else. The PT teaser had to do something for you, right?
Yeah, I was about to say, I think I've mostly been focused on the Konami stuff because I saw the teaser video for PT, which I don't know, maybe I understood this incorrectly, but I thought they said they made that before they made the playable demo. and they had that was kind of like their video teaser or concept video that they had first. And then from there, they kind of made the whole PT game demo because they're pretty different. But I thought it was really cool. I loved the way it looked. I mean, it didn't necessarily look like Silent Hill, but again, I think they're just playing with things. They're trying to get moods. They're trying to see what works. And
it was more Silent Hall.
Yeah. Well, is that hell aspect of it again? But I think it was a little bit more like straight up horror than Silent Hill's more kind of psychological horror. I mean, I love the monster going down the hallway. I thought that was very well done.
Well, and monster design has always been like something people have really dug about. Silent Hill, that series, and we have iconic horror characters like the Red Pyramid, like the nurses, that carried through very well to cinema. And so I think that's why it was exciting to see like, the monster design in this game looks like it's going to be just as tremendous. Like and if you haven't watched the trailer yet, keep the lights on when you watch the little thing that came out Tokyo
it's
Game
short
Show.
And sweet.
It's
nice and
short,
creepy.
but it'll scare you. And that monster was awesome. That thing that was coming down the hall.
Yeah, that was my favorite part. I was like, that
tremendous.
looks like Silent Hill right there. I don't know, bugs like guys barfing up bugs and stuff like that. But I don't know about that.
I just like how it's kind of
cool.
just almost like a creepy roller coaster sort of in a sense. It's like just stuff is just going to keep, ramping up as you're going through. And it's like, oh, fuck, oh, shit, oh, god damn, what the hell's that? It's like,
yeah, my favorite part of Downpour, the most recent game that came out, was there's a whole level where you're in this underground mine, and towards the end of that, there's like where you're literally on a roller coaster. You get in a mine cart, it goes up, and it does like this whole experience thing. You see all these creepy images and monsters coming out of the ceiling, and I thought that was like my favorite part of Downpour, and that reminded me a lot of that. And I know a lot of people don't like Downpour, but I like that element of it.
Not to talk about something even more ad nauseum that we already discussed at great length a month ago, but I know you were really into it as well. Like, what were your thoughts about that PT? The experience, the game, the demo that came out.
Oh, the actual
originally?
demo?
You got really into this too.
Yeah, I loved it. I thought it was great. I mean, I think I found pretty much every little part of it, every little Easter egg. The last thing I found was that when the glass breaks in one room, she's like standing up on the balcony, and that freaked me out. But yeah, no, I played it a lot. I was trying to figure out how to repeatedly get killed, and I thought I got it. There's so many things about that demo that freak you out because you're like, how did they do this? Like, how do you get it to repeat? It just seems like there's so much. It feels like it's random, but it's not. But you can't figure out how to trigger these things. And the ending was like the hardest part. And I think I had a pretty good method, but then this other method came out with saying the name Jareth when you played it, and it was just, there's so much going on. I just think that's like a good sign of things to come, that I think Kojima's really got his head in this one. He's not just phoning it in like I guess some people would say maybe with the Castlevania reboots he did. I was worried at first, like, I didn't mind the first Castlevania reboot game, but the second one didn't do well at all, and overall I don't think fans liked it, but this one, he really seems like he's taking charge on it, and he's really taking ownership of it.
Well, then I don't know to what extent the role Guillermo del Toro is going to play with this, but if it has anything to do with the monster design, that would certainly explain.
That's what I'm hoping. I'm hoping it's pretty much
good.
the monster design, because when you watch like Pan's Labyrinth, that looks like a Silent Hill monster. The one at the dinner table with the eyes in his hands, like. It's pretty awesome.
Tiger Claw in our chat room over at live.vognetwork.com says, this isn't the first time we've seen a PT type of thing. I remember years ago, if you played the PC version of Portal 2, it had a playable trailer that was promoting the movie Super 8. That's a little bit different because that's kind of like unlocking, like that's more like an Easter egg, I think, among anything else. But you did see Valve do a little bit of this in Steam, even leading up to the release of Portal 2, where I seem to remember there was like a weekend, or it was like they would early release Portal 2 on Steam if the certain conditions in other games were satisfied. And I remember like Portal started leaking into these other games. Like Audio Surf was the one I remember I was really into because I like the music games. And The Device Has Been Modified, that song from Portal, suddenly showed up in Audio Surf. And like if you beat this, you would contribute to the early release of Portal 2. Yeah. So they have had those... I don't want to call it like an AR type of experience, but it sort of is. Like
it's kind of like that. It's kind of almost like a viral marketing campaign to really get the word. And they have that ability because they have all the access to those games and that stuff. For like PT, I think what works so well is because it was on a console. And they're like, oh, it's just go home and download this game and play it. It's like it's a new game. It's a demo or whatever. And then you play through it and then you see the commercial at the end. And of course, that's viral marketing in a way too. Mm-hmm. But I don't know. I think just being on like the home consoles was a little bit different than something that's kind of like this PC integrated thing where it's easy to change things like on the fly. This one, they had pushed this thing out and like they had, I hope everyone will just download it and play it.
Well, and then you knew they probably knew the rumor would get out eventually, especially with it being a scary game.
Like you said, I think he said he thought it would take a week, but people beat it in a day. I don't know why he would think it would take a week. What would ever take the internet a week to figure out? I don't know.
Well, we still don't know how to definitively beat it.
Definitive ending, but you could beat it.
There you go. Let's see. Going to our chat room over at live.vognetwork.com.
It would have been even more hilarious if at the end it was Frog Fractions 2.
I would have still loved it.
We contributed to the Kickstarter.
All right. ActDef says Guillermo del Toro seems like he's going to be a creative consultant. That comes from ActDef in our chat room over at live.vognetwork.com. So, yeah, I mean, can you imagine back in the day, like, we used to get the demos on the discs that came with magazines for CDs, right? Can you imagine if, like, there had been a demo on one of those discs, and then it was like, surprise, you just played the Final Fantasy VII demo, or something, like something crazy like that. Like,
yeah.
That's why
it's so weird.
The PT thing we haven't really seen yet, because usually you know what demo you're playing, right?
Yeah.
So it's kind of neat. Quickly, I want to bring this up as well. I want to talk about Final Fantasy 15. Did you guys see the trailer that came out for that, the new one? And not just the trailer, but there's this gameplay thing from 15 that came out that looks phenomenal.
I just saw the trailer. I didn't see the gameplay.
Although the trailer, I mean, a lot of people are calling it a Broad Trip Final Fantasy. I mean, here's the thing. The graphics in the game look stellar, which is to be expected from a Final Fantasy game. But then it was like, this doesn't look like a Final Fantasy game. It's like these dudes are in a car.
Yeah, we're driving around a Cadillac or a Buick or whatever it looks like.
For what it was, though, it looked so cool. Like
Grand Theft Final Fantasy, yo, woo!
Just pop out of our car, kill some monsters, get back in, look at the sunset. I thought it was a cool trailer. Did it get like a lot of hate or something? I saw some jokes about it. I don't know if people. It seemed like I think I saw more people liking it than
the gameplay trailer they had.
I didn't see.
One thing I'm seeing on Twitter is where's the women, which I think is, Final Fantasy has brought us a lot of strong female characters, that series, so it is a good, I think that is a fair question to pose. Like, are there going to be any women in this game?
Yeah, they've already shown.
There have been a couple that have been seen out there, and I wouldn't necessarily accuse Square Enix of being incapable of creating a Final Fantasy game with a strong female lead. I mean, we just had 3 games with Lightning.
I was about to say, like, I think they've done their work on that.
Yeah,
end.
so I'm not like of course I want to see a strong female.
Or
in this
Final
game.
Fantasy was it 10-2, and 10 even kind of had a
right. Exactly. Who doesn't love Lulu, right? From 10 and all that. So I'm not worried about like can Square do it. It certainly was just one of those things where I was like, okay, this is definitely noticeable that it's a sausage fest, this game so far. But I think we also have to remember what we might be seeing in that trailer is one particular chapter or like one particular component of what's probably a much larger game. If you go back and you look at the original teaser when they announced it at E3, there were all these different sequences and other characters. Like there was a child character, there was a female that was seen for a little bit. So I think what we saw was one piece of what's probably going to be a much larger picture, right? So that's my thought. Going to our chat room over at live.vognetwork.com. We got Fifth Dream who says, OMG, I love Lulu. And Dungeon Buster says, Lulu was my clutch artillery mage. Any other Tokyo Game Show things you guys caught a glimpse of or anything you want to talk about before we move on here?
Earth Defense Force 4.1.
Oh, yeah? What did they say about that?
Well, it's just basically they're porting it to PlayStation 4, and they're adding some stuff to it. So one of the new things that they have is, this giant mech versus this giant, like, kaiju type thing, which I don't know if that's really anything new. I mean, the mech thing's new, but, the giant monsters, they've had giant monsters in the game before. So I'm interested.
Are you just excited for the experience on, I'm trying to resist saying next gen consoles because they've been out for a year now.
Well,
so
it's not technically a new game because Earth Defense Force 4 is already out. It's just they're adding kind of stuff to it and then they're up-resing it or whatever.
Gotcha.
And honestly, a game like that, I don't know how that's really going to look because it's not that complex to begin with.
Yeah, but if you're going to buy Grand Theft Auto 5 on PS4 or Xbox,
but that's a lot. That is way different. No, seriously, that is not even a correct comparison. You're talking about Earth Defense Force, which is a very basic looking game, and then up-resing it's really not going to change the way that looks versus Grand Theft Auto that they're redoing like all the engine for the game. They're redoing the whole foliage engine in there. They're increasing the amount of cars in there. The lighting engine's being redone. Just all these improvements make it look like a completely different game.
All right. Well, I hate to take the reins and take the car a different direction here, but it is that time. We're going to start our interview here. We're going to be talking to tonight on Orange Lounge Radio Mike Bilder. He's a general manager at Jackbox Games. Jackbox Games has the brand new game Fibbage that's out on Xbox One, PlayStation 4, PlayStation 3. But you probably know Jackbox Games from that game that kind of appears in their name. You don't know Jack, and we'll talk about those games and who knows what else as we talk to Mike tonight. So we're going to try to get him on the phone right now, and if you guys want to participate, live.vognetwork.com to get your questions in for Mike. Mike, you there?
I'm here. You hear me okay?
Yes, we hear you just fine. Welcome to Orange Lounge Radio.
Excellent. Thanks for having me.
It is a pleasure to have you on, and congratulations on the release of Fibbage. I know just hit PlayStation 4 this past week, and you had it on Xbox One earlier this month, right?
Yeah, that's right. We launched on PS3 and PS4 this week. We were out on Xbox One about three and a half weeks ago. And prior to that, we actually launched the game on Amazon Fire TV.
Oh, okay. Very cool.
So four platforms right now.
There you go. So we've talked about kind of our experiences with Fibbage, but how would you describe Fibbage? What is that game all about?
Wow. Well, it's a bluffing party game. In the same vein that You Don't Know Jack is a fun experience when you have everybody together in the same room. Fibbage is similar. It's the most fun when you have a big party together. It's a trivia game, but it's a bluffing game as well. So we'll put up a question like the mayor of Rabbit Hash, Kentucky is blank. And then everyone who's playing the game types in a fib or a lie on their phone. And they're trying to fool other people. So you get rewarded if people pick your lies. And then we bring up everyone's lies as well as the truth. And then at that point, you're supposed to try and find the truth. So you'll get rewarded if you actually pick the correct answer. But as you can imagine, it becomes pretty fun. It can become pretty saucy. I mean, it all depends on the audience that you're playing with.
Definitely depends on that. What I find most hilarious is that when like 2 or even 3 people will come up with the same saucy lie, and it's like,
right.
Oh, your mind's in the gutter too.
That's right. That's right. And those are usually kind of spit takes. Your beer is usually flying across the room when that happens. So.
Now, the control style for Fibbage I thought was really unique, and that was definitely the first thing. I mean, I've loved these game show type games for forever, and I'm a big fan of You Don't Know Jack as well. We'll talk about that later. But what definitely grabbed me about Fibbage was that the control style was unique, and I don't think I've seen a game yet that uses smartphones and tablets as a controller. Where did you guys get this idea from?
So some people have kind of toyed around with this in the past, but not on a main console. We've seen and explored methods of multiplayer games. The biggest hurdle that you have when you're playing on a console is every controller is $50. And especially early in the life cycle of a console, I mean, who has more than 2 of those? If you're spending $400 or $500 on a console, you're not going to go out and buy 4 controllers right away. So we benefited in the last generation by things like the big button controller, and people who bought Seen It, if they had four big buttons, they could immediately go play with those. Mm-hmm. And in this case, we wanted a way for many, many people to jump in and play the game. And we wanted to also explore game mechanics that you couldn't do with a controller. So in the case of Fibbage, you need privacy because you're lying. You need a keyboard because you're entering a lie. With a console, you can't really do that. You could bring up the on-screen keyboard, but everyone would see it. You don't have ways to do that. So we prototyped some stuff about a year ago and really got excited about it. And Fibbage kind of grew out of that. And it's our first game that utilizes mobile controllers in this way. But we have many, many more coming. And we're pretty excited about what's yet to come.
Now, did you know that people would take this control style and use it to stream over Twitch TV? Because that was the other thing that grabbed me was that, the first night I ever played Fibbage, I was playing against Flaco Jones, and he's at his house streaming on Twitch TV, and we're able to play the game together. I mean, in a way, you beat Sony to the whole play over Twitch thing that was supposed to be in the PS4, in a way.
Right. And we were paying close attention to Sony's tech. And we're obviously aware of Twitch, and all of us are gamers as well. So we watch Twitch and we partake and participate in that kind of stuff. We really didn't anticipate people playing Fibbage over Twitch on console the way they're doing it. And thankfully, we put enough of the information on the controller that even if there's a 30-second lag or a 20-second lag in viewing the game over a Twitch stream and playing along, it's still totally playable. And we're pretty excited about that, and we're obviously embracing it. And we're taking steps for future titles to embrace it even more and even better. So, we can really do these multiplayer type experiences with many, many people. For instance, one of the games we're working on connects with up to 100 people in the game at a time. And you could kind of only do that over a thing like Twitch. I don't know that you could, even if you had online multiplayer with PlayStation or Xbox, connect that many boxes and have that many people playing in a meaningful way. So we're pretty excited about it. I mean, we kind of, admit that we backed into some of this with Twitch, but we certainly love it and we love to see it. And we're constantly, refreshing the page and seeing who's streaming and paying attention to Twitter feeds when people are posting their room codes and jumping in on games every now and then. And it makes for a pretty fun experience.
Do you guys jump into some of those games?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, a lot of times we'll jump in as Jackbox Games so people will know it's us, and we'll kind of, especially if it's a larger subscription or there's many more people viewing, because then there's an active chat. So we can answer questions and we can kind of have some fun with it. Sometimes we'll jump in just because somebody's looking to fill up a game and they only have 7 people, so one of us will jump in, and we probably don't jump in as Jack or as Jackbox Games. We jump in, as our own names or something made up. So yeah, we're kind of trolling around there too.
Well, now, when I was streaming on Twitch the other night, and I don't even know if this is something you can comment on, but I have to ask it. I have to ask it because this is just something that just gets at me. But when I was streaming, Jackbox Games or somebody joined my Twitch channel, and I was talking about how I really liked Fibbage because it was filling a void that was left by the absence of 1 versus 100 on Microsoft's platform, and I couldn't believe that Microsoft still has not brought that back, but that's beside the point. But I had heard that You Don't Know Jack was being considered for that spot at one point. Is that true? Is that
that's true. That's actually around the time. So I joined the company in 2008, and that was around the time that 1 versus 100 was really starting and growing. And we were kind of in some involved discussions with Microsoft to be the next big multiplayer title. I think the service was Primetime at the time, and unfortunately, that model just kind of didn't sustain. And I know there was a rabid fan base of it, and we obviously would have loved to have been a title on that platform. But I know there was some challenges with sponsorships, and it was kind of a expensive production because it was half live, half not, and it just unfortunately didn't come together. But we like the idea of it, and we kind of like the idea of many people playing together. So we're trying to explore that with our own products going forward. Well, maybe not in the same sense of Primetime and kind of how that was a scheduled event. But nowadays, people schedule their own events, right? I mean,
it's true.
They have DVRs and they record TV. They don't get home from work and make sure at 7 o'clock they can tune in to whatever they want to watch. They watch it at their leisure because they record it. And, Twitch and things like that allow people to do the exact same thing with gaming.
Absolutely. Even though we're a live show, we have many, many more that listen on the podcast. That's just, podcasting was really how people were even able to find our own show. So you're absolutely right. People kind of want to do things at their own convenience with that. So, man, though, just thinking about what could have happened. And then to know Microsoft went and paid $2.5 billion for Minecraft, but they couldn't keep. All right, I'm not going to get there. But I just.
Hey, listen, if Microsoft wants to come and pay $2 billion for Jackbox Games, we're totally open to that.
I love that you just openly admit that. That's fine. Yeah. They could probably give us just $1 million for VOG Network. We'd take that.
Oh yeah. Okay. But don't sell yourself short.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. Man, it has me thinking though. I don't know if you personally were involved with any of this, but I know like Berkeley Systems had published the original You Don't Know Jack, and when I think about these game shows, the granddaddy to 1 versus 100 on Microsoft was really to me like Acrophobia. And what were those other games that Berkeley did? Cosmic Consensus, was that one? Were you involved with any of that?
So that stuff predates me. I obviously played all that kind of stuff and I was a big fan of it. Mm-hmm. But my involvement with that in the company, that predates me. Now, obviously we have a lot of history with Berkeley and then Sierra and a number of people publishing You Don't Know Jack on CD-ROM, and then in the console space, there was a PlayStation SKU, and then we did a deal in 2011 when we launched on Xbox 360 and PS3 and Wii and all those platforms with a publisher as well. But yeah, I mean, there's also Acrophobia is one of those titles that people always ask us to make, but we don't own that IP. So, if we can get a hold of that IP, we'd be happy to make it. And there are a lot of folks that work at Jackbox Games that have been involved with the company, since it was Jellyvision back then, and since it did the first Jack. So there's a fondness in the studio as well for titles like that. And so, no doubt we could do some wordplay games like that, but if people actually want Acrophobia, the game, the brand, we don't own it, and we would need to find a way to get it.
So we're stuck with IRC bots until then, basically.
That's unfortunately, yeah.
All right, fair enough. Hey, we're going to get to your questions over at live.vognetwork.com if you have a question for Mike and Jackbox Games, and also I'm going to get to some other listener questions, but there's some other questions here in studio, too. Flaco, who introduced me to Fibbage, you have a question for Mike?
Yeah, mine's more along the lines of You Don't Know Jack and just kind of the future of these types of games. Now that you're using the tablets and the mobile devices, would you use those in You Don't Know Jack? And if so, could we see a return to the gibberish question? Because I missed that in the 2011 release.
Yeah, that's a great question. So we moved away. I'll give you a little bit of history. We moved away from console space after we did the deal with THQ and re-released You Don't Know Jack on all those consoles. And we moved into self-publishing and kind of went into the social gaming space and the mobile space. And we did a number of products in the mobile space. We put You Don't Know Jack on Facebook and on mobile and kind of linked those together. And we certainly learned a whole lot in the process. But one of the things is people loved the gibberish question. So that was present in the mobile and the social game, the Facebook game, because everybody's got a keyboard or has a virtual keyboard on their phone. So in the console space, tricky if you still want to support controllers. So what I can tell you is we have finished a new version of You Don't Know Jack, and it's called You Don't Know Jack 2015. And we will have more to say on all of that next month. So if you're a big fan of the game and the franchise, you can look for it on next-gen consoles, and you can look for some more messaging around all of that real soon.
Awesome. I was going to say there was a tweet I caught from the Fibbage account just a couple days ago where I was like, oh, something's coming. So that's excellent. Good luck with that.
Yeah, I think the guys shared a segue video, a question 10 segue video. Yeah.
Which in some ways are one of the best parts of the new You Don't Know Jack game. Those segues are hilarious. My favorite one is when it's like slightly different, like something changes in the segue. That was my favorite part.
Yeah, well, that kind of goes into the Easter egg stuff, which you guys were talking about at the beginning of your show. I mean, that's kind of a big thing for us, is either dated things or text entry things. If you tell the host in a gibberish question or in your player name, fuck you, obviously you get some quick response from him. If you play on certain dates, if you find the wrong answer of the game, if you play enough and you see alternates to the segue videos. I mean, there's always kind of little mystery things that we like to hide in You Don't Know Jack.
Awesome. I'm so looking forward to the 2015 version and what other little clever things you might have in there. I actually have a Facebook question that's along these lines. This question is submitted from SSG100 Matt on our Facebook. Yep. What's the writing process like when you guys and gals are writing questions for You Don't Know Jack and Fibbage? I would imagine the brainstorming sessions are hilarious.
I've worked in the games industry for quite a while, and I got to tell you, the writers and the designers and the people that I work with at Jackbox Games, there isn't a day that I don't laugh out loud at work. So it's pretty awesome. We have full-time people. We have an editor. It's actually quite a big process and probably very underestimated by the people that play our game. And other people that even work in the gaming industry. I mean, they probably completely underestimate what it takes to write and source and edit and punch up and throw out and re-record and record. And so, for a game like You Don't Know Jack, the majority of production, I mean, I don't want to underestimate the engineering and all the other effort that goes into it, but there's just kind of a small little army that has to create all that content. And Fibbage is pretty much the same. I mean, all of that, it's slightly easier content to write. But all of it still needs to be doubly sourced, and it has to go through reviews, and they get kind of thrown out and edited. So we only put the kind of best stuff in there and not duplicates of things. And then it all gets voice recorded. Cookies on staff, And so he has to voice record all that stuff as well. So it's quite a big process.
I did not realize until I was doing some research for this week's interview and some text messages with my own announcer here, Jason, at the top of the show. Jason was saying, did you know that Cookie is like a pseudonym for somebody that works there? And I was like, oh my gosh, I thought Cookie was a real person.
Yeah, so the founder of the company, Harry Gottlieb, his brother Tom actually works for the company as well, and so he's Cookie. And he actually works out of his house in New York, and he's got a recording booth set up there. And we've got some pretty great tools where we can, in real time, kind of communicate with all of the content of our game, and he can record directly into it. And so it's a pretty sophisticated process. But as you know, we've been making this game for quite a while, so we've kind of got a pretty robust tool set and pretty honed pipeline at this point.
Yeah, Fifth Dream in our chat room at live.vognetwork.com says, I've been playing You Don't Know Jack for like 15 years, maybe more.
Yep, well, it's about right.
That's about right. I remember playing it about that long ago as well.
Yeah, 95 was the first time it came out, so we're getting close to our 20th anniversary here.
Flaco, you got another question?
Yeah. Does Chalky the Chipmunk work on staff too?
Somebody on Facebook asked about that too.
The voice awesome. Does, yes.
That's awesome. And ActF says, I knew Cookie was a pseudonym, but Fibbage FunFest says Cookie is very real. You know, I believe. Well, Cookie was on the short-lived ABC TV show they had of You Don't Know Jack, right? Didn't they have Cookie on that?
Yeah, I think just as a voice, though. But yes, he was.
Oh, yeah,
Tom
I know
was on the
Pee
show.
Wee Herman was the host, yeah. Let's see. Going to our chat room for another question. This is from our live chat room at live.vognetwork.com. ActDeft asking about some other platforms potentially for Fibbage, saying, how about a Wii U version and an Android version? Wii U version would seem like a good fit. Are you looking at any other platforms?
So we're always looking at it. The tricky thing for us is we're still a small developer, so we kind of have to pick and choose our battles and go after where the largest network and the biggest adoption might be. Wii U is a possibility. Android and iOS are probably more likely than Wii U, just because of the size of the audience and the fact that we kind of migrated from console into social mobile and now back into console. And so the way that we're developing and some of the tools and middleware and things that we're using allow us to rapidly prototype and even develop still on mobile. So what we'll do, even the Fire TV, which is an Android-based box, we're able to run the games and make builds and bring them home and play them with friends and family over the weekend in prototype states and just get real-world feedback on what's working and what's not and bring them back. And so it's more likely that kind of iOS, Android type environment than maybe the Wii platforms. But we'll look. I mean, the other kind of stuff that we're hearing a lot of right now is when is it coming to UK? When is it coming to Australia? And we're certainly looking at all of those as well. Again, we're a small developer, so there are costs involved with all of that. Besides just getting ratings, there's whole production and QA cycles because you have to go through submissions with all the first-party guys, again, with Microsoft, Sony, all of that. It's not just you flip a switch in a dashboard and suddenly you release in Europe, which is kind of how it works on the iOS and Android platform. If you just want to sell in every market, you check a box, and next thing you know, it's propagated in every market. It's very different in the console space. So we're looking at it, and if the audience is big enough and the demand is big enough, we'll do that type of thing. But we're also small, and we're also working on a whole bunch of other stuff, and we want to make sure that we can get some more games and new games out as well. So it's a tricky thing to answer. I know it's probably not the best answer people want to hear, but yes, we're looking at all that stuff, and it's likely that we will make some moves to bring additional platforms online and some additional territories online.
I think there's a lot of people that imagine that the release thing looks like one of the Scenic controllers where you just, this button releases it in the UK, and this button, why would they push the button? Why would they do it?
It's kind of that way in the mobile space. Once you make the game, you just check the boxes where you want it to go, and it goes. But not the same in the console space, no.
There you go. All right, another question from our chat room over at live.vognetwork.com. Dark Tetsuya says, what was the inspiration for Fibbage? Cards Against Humanity, maybe? Speaking of Minds in the Gutter?
Well, we obviously love that game, and those guys are in Chicago. We know some of those guys, so we kind of like to support that type of play. It's party play. We like that. We like being in the same room and playing with friends and family. We play lots of kind of games. We bring in board games and card games all the time. We play parlor type games like Murder and things like that. Werewolf, people know it as Werewolf. So we're kind of always getting inspiration from that kind of stuff. Balderdash is obviously some type of inspiration for Fibbage. Just the idea of bluffing. And again, it kind of came out of doing a bunch of prototypes. So we do these internal RFPs. So if you're ever working with a publisher, they may say, we've got an RFP, a request for proposal for a family game, and it's trying to go after this demographic, and here's how we want it to work. And they put it out to bid with all different kinds of studios. And if you have time and effort and you're interested, you put a proposal back to them, and maybe you'll be lucky enough to get the gig. Well, we do that internally. So we do internal RFPs. And we do these, every couple months, and we'll kind of look at the marketplace, or we'll look at our product portfolio and try to round out where we want to go with things. And Fibbage is one of the prototypes that kind of came out of that process. So, we break up the studio into small groups of a couple people. We do it over a week or two, and they, spend a good amount of time kind of rapidly prototyping games, and then we present them internally to each other, and other people critique them, and then we kind of slice them on different verticals of if we think it's unique, if we think it'll sell, if we think, blah, 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 blah. And ultimately, Fibbage just came out of a really fun demo of a bluffing game. And then when we kind of extrapolated that into the mobile space as controller, which is obviously how it had to be if we were going to allow keyboard entry and whatnot, then it turned into, well, what other unique ways can we use the controller? Besides it just acting as a joystick alternative or as an alternative to a big buzzer or a big button, what else could you do with it? And so some of our newer games that we're working on will work in a similar manner to Fibbage, but others will use a touch screen in a unique way as well. So we're pretty excited about that.
Awesome. Now, we're running out of time here. I got to start to wrap things up, but I needed to make sure you heard this tweet, because we got a tweet when we announced you as a guest from our pal Piker Uno, who's actually overseas in the UK. You were talking a little bit ago about the international releases, and Piker Uno says, top guest, top company. I'm a very firm believer in the Jack principles, great for educational interactives. I say this because the site I work for is famous for our educational interactives, which were influenced strongly by You Don't Know Jack. So even if the game can't release over there, you're still influencing people over there. That's
awesome. Great to hear. That's great.
Before I let you go, I always like to ask our guests that come on the show, what types of video games are you playing right now? And you can't name the stuff your own company's making. What are the types of video games you play?
I can't, because those are great.
They are great.
They are great. Those a lot. I bring them home every weekend and we play them.
we plug those for you though, Mike. I don't.
Right, okay.
What are you playing?
I have a 10-year-old and I have an 8-year-old, so we play a lot of Minecraft. Minecraft, Disney Infinity, Skylanders, those are kind of the go-to games when I'm playing with my kids. My own affinity is in the arcade space. So I've got some coin ops in my house. I play those quite a bit. And when I get time, I get about 5% through every major game. So I've got every major released game on last gen and a number of the good ones on current gen, although I don't have Destiny yet. And I managed to play through 5% of them before I have time to switch to the next one. So one of these days I'll be able to sit through start to finish, but I feel like that hasn't happened in quite a while because I have kids.
Mike, I sympathize with you, and I don't even have the excuse that I have kids. We call it here at OLR Gamer ADD. You start
right. Like
one
you got to
game
play everything. You got to know what's out there.
Exactly.
Some of them you wish you could play through entirely, but then something new comes out, and that's just how it works.
Exactly right. Well, Mike, I do want to give us an ample opportunity to plug Fibbage here. Everybody, Fibbage is out on PlayStation 4, PlayStation 3, Amazon Fire, Xbox One. Where can they find more information online or on Twitter and all that, Mike?
Well, you can follow us, Jackbox Games, on Twitter. There's also a Fibbage handle on Twitter as well. You can go to our website, jackboxgames.com. And then we're also pretty active on Facebook as well. But you can find everything out about our games and what we're working on. We do have a blog on our website, and we're hoping in the next week or two to start doing some Twitch streaming / kind of video podcasting on Fridays. And we may actually start teasing. Since Twitch is such a great vehicle for people joining games and playing our games, we may start teasing a couple of our new games and letting other people join in and play them. So keep your eye out for that over the next couple of weeks.
That's quite the little tease there. You honestly could probably show some of those brainstorming sessions and get a lot of viewers for that too, though.
Yeah, or prototypes. We have a lot of prototypes. They're great, and we have a lot of prototypes that just didn't cut it, and I feel like those would be even fun to show. to just laugh at some of them.
Oh, I bet. Except then
creative, funny guys.
You're going to get all those people that come in and say, "Why didn't you release that?"
Right. Exactly.
So be prepared for that.
Or maybe we'll get some, grassroots Kickstarters going so we can release them.
All right. You never know. You never know. Mike Bilder, General Manager at Jackbox Games, thank you so much for taking the time out of your Sunday night to come here on Orange Lounge Radio Live. Best of luck to you with the continued rollout of Fibbage and You Don't Know Jack 2015 and whatever else you guys have in the future.
Well, thank you guys very much. Thanks for having me, and thanks for all the support.
You're welcome very much. Anytime. Take care.
All right, you too. Bye-bye.
Right, bye-bye. Mike Bilder with Jackbox Games, everybody. So great to have him on the show. What'd you guys think of that?
See, that's the problem is if you put those prototypes out there, then do you want Goat Simulator? Because that's how you get Goat Simulator.
I thought Goat Simulator
was awesome. Yes, exactly. But, it's like if you really want to work towards a specific thing, you're going to end up making Goat Simulator because people are going to like the stupidest thing that you have. And that's great, though, because it sells.
All right. Flaco, as a fan of what they've done since they were Jellyvision and all that stuff, what'd you think of that? Good stuff, huh?
I thought it was a great interview. I was really excited to hear a lot of that stuff. I can't wait to play You Don't Know Jack next year.
I'm a little curious to see what that game he's talking about or teasing that's up to 100 players.
Yeah, when he said that, my mind went to wait a minute. I was just about to ask a question about 1 versus 100. Are you telling me you're going to take this on your own terms? I don't know.
You could see Rob light up.
Well, yeah, you should see me here in studio. I was like, what did he say? So, all right. Anyway, big thanks to them for coming on. And I actually wasn't expecting to get them on here as fast as we did. I thought, I'll schedule something in October. But no, they were like, sure, I'll come on Sunday. So, big thanks to them for being flexible and answering your questions. And we wish them the best of luck. That's always great to see such a small studio who makes those big landmark games, do so well. So, all right. Anyhow, we're going to move on with, let's get into our gaming weeks. I told you about 7 o'clock we'd finally get into our gaming weeks and the types of video games we have been playing this week. And then we'll get into some gaming news, more stuff from Tokyo Game Show. And, of course, later in the show, your emails and live phone calls at 1-877-GAME-OLR. First, our gaming weeks. Loki, what have you been up to?
I didn't play any games per se. I did redeem a ton of Steam codes, though, because, one, I purchased the Humble Bundle 12 because, I didn't have enough games in my backlog, but they had some games that I kind of wanted, so I just figured, what the hell, I'll go ahead and buy that. But with that, though, Humble Bundle has, in your library, it now has a section of unredeemed Steam codes. And I was like, holy crap, I haven't redeemed half of these? There's Humble Bundle 9 on there. I'm like, did I just not? I bought this and just didn't do anything with it. So I went in and redeemed a bunch of my stuff and redeemed all my Origin codes that I had that had been sitting there from the Humble Origin thing back when I was like, I'm never going to download Origin. So I did all that. And and then also redeem my early access for Road Redemption. So I'm gonna try to play some stuff this week. I installed Road Redemption, I installed Race the Sun and Earth Defense Force because I was starting that a little bit. But so I'll try to play something. In fact, I just helped someone get on our Minecraft server, and that kind of reminded me. I was like, crap, I should really go dust that thing off. It needs.
I've been dabbling in the Minecraft again, thanks to the PlayStation 4 release. So I could be talked into coming on the PC version, having a little fun with their.
Well, I was working.
Dust it up.
Yeah, what I was working on before I stopped working on it was adding weapons to the game, like guns and stuff. So we'll see. I'm kind of curious to see what their official modding, when they do add that official modding support, what that's going to do. They really do need, Java's cool and all, but they really do need, a better client, something that actually utilizes, your GPUs and stuff, because that would really help speed that game up and be able to do some cool stuff with it.
All right. Well, I know you haven't been playing a lot lately because you are writing your own game. And
yes.
Best of luck with that.
Yeah. And I'm just about back to where I was before I decided to rewrite everything again. So I just finished kind of testing, or I should say my son was testing out because he was playing with it, testing the object editor stuff. And so now I've got it to delete and rotate and change color correctly for one of the primitives, and now I just need to add the code to it to the rest of them, and that should be pretty quick. And then I've got to build on top of that to be able to like do levels and stuff. So once I finish that, then I'm going to start finishing the actual game code, like for the actual like gameplay and stuff, and then I have to make some actual assets for it.
Talking Minecraft in our chat room over at live.vognetwork.com, Good to Know says, I tried so hard to like console Minecraft, but I have been too spoiled by the PC version. You know, I can sympathize with that because obviously the PC version is the modding and all that, which, you know, makes it fun. But I love the simplified crafting interface that's on the console version. That's a big selling point for me because I'm not really super into the, like, I like just the menu and do you have the items in your inventory? Yes, do it. Like that takes one of the, for me, boring parts out of the game.
That I 100% agree on that. And if they had a way to plug that into Minecraft, well, I mean, they do have different interfaces you can get, but it's all client-side stuff. So, but if they had that, because I always play with the controller, even on the PC version, and a lot of people don't play that way.
And before we get to Flaco's week, Black Wolf asks Loki, how many weeks before Loki quits the gaming industry because social media is too suffocating?
Never, because it's stupid. I mean,
if some of the other crap in this show's history hasn't broken you, I don't think that a little game's gonna.
There's so much. And here's the thing, though. I don't know if it's just because it's like almost like a soap opera or something, but I am watching all that Gamergate stuff and reading everything about that and both sides. And it's just a big old fucking mess right now. And I mean, we're not even gonna get into it, but it's a big old fucking mess.
Yeah,
and
I'd agree.
Be glad that we're indie. And we don't have to, you know, the only secret club we have is when we sometimes spoil, you know, stuff that we shouldn't be saying about certain games and stuff. But that's
I would consider it a privilege to be considered part of the gaming Illuminati. Like or as I've been calling it, the Galluminati, because you take the gaming and Illuminati and throw it together. I would have taken it as a privilege to have my picture on one of those, like, don't believe this person. I would have been like, wow, like somebody thinks like I'm important enough to be in the know on that stuff. That's awesome.
Yeah, but none of us are. Unfortunately, we're just people that, you know, we just do a podcast
look. All I'm saying is that, and look, I have said in the past, I don't really want to get into it, but I'm kind of side skirting it is what I'm doing, because what I'm saying is that all this crap everybody's talking about, there's corruption and it's a clique and all this stuff, like, we told you that like 8 years ago. I will never forget one of these events that Loki, you and I went to, and you could just, man, how we got NDA'd out of being able to announce things before the big sites because we signed an NDA and these other websites didn't have to, like, they got to each announce their own little thing, right? Remember that? And just like, you know, because all these guys go to all these different shows, they all know each other.
Yeah, it was the first Konami event we went to.
And we were getting...
Yes, I'm calling you out, Konami. It was your Konami event.
Well, the reason why I is because they're all like that.
Yes.
They're all like
I'm
that.
not singling out Konami here. I'm sure that everybody does that, and probably some to a worse extent.
But then, like, you know, you and I were getting all those stares from people like, who the hell are these guys? Like, I was just like, oh my God. So anyway, I'm just that stuff's existed forever. I don't know why just now y'all are finally like, oh, hey.
I have no problem with them being friends with each other.
Yeah,
whatever. That's fine. But when you go on like a private forum and start like, you know, plotting, you know, here, oh, this is going on. How are we going to communicate this to? How are we going to, you know, send the message out about this? That's a little weird. Unless, I mean, if it was like, say, oh, this developer has cancer, we want to raise funds for them or something like that. That's something. But I don't know. It wasn't the case here, and it's still weird, I guess.
And then the problem here is too that the message of that corruption gets muddled with all these people that are there, and I'm using my quotey fingers for the lulz, to just be awful to other people. And you know I don't stand for that shit. Like, don't be a dick. We always say that here on OLR. If you're going to be playing games online, don't be a dick. That includes Twitter. That includes let people have their opinions. You can think they are wrong, wrongo, wrongy, wrongerson, but they're entitled to that opinion. Here's human decency.
To boil it down, it's like this, okay? Yeah, there's some corruption in game journalism. Yeah, there's some people out there that are gamers that are also misogynistic, but don't lump everybody into that, because not all gamers are misogynistic. Not all press on, you know, gaming press are corrupt. And so that's the problem, is you have people making these overgeneralizations, and shame on these websites for even making those broad generalizations. Come on. I mean, it's ridiculous. And it only makes you look bad. And on top of that, these people on both sides that are doxing people or swatting people, that's ridiculous.
With the whole being a dick stuff.
That
Stop
is
it.
absolutely ridiculous. They should not be doing that at all to anybody.
We went way further down that rabbit hole than we intended to.
But there's people though that are rabid fans of these, celebrities or whatever, and they will literally do whatever because they think it's going to gain them some favor with them. And so, yeah, there are crazy people. And this kind of goes back to Xbox Live, honestly, because Xbox Live is full of young anonymous people that they're immature and they act immature, and because they're anonymous they think they can get away with it. And so you have these people doing the same shit online. So yeah, of course you're gonna run into these misogynistic dicks and stuff, but it's the internet, goddammit. They're everywhere. In every hobby that you're I bet you there is a fucking Bobby Flay forum with some misogynist dicks in there, okay? There's like,
Bobby Flay
or some forum dedicated to like Hello Kitty that has misogynistic dicks in it. I mean, it's seriously, it doesn't matter. It's the goddamn internet. That's all right. It's the internet. It's just full of misogynistic dicks and nice people.
Demix in our chat room, I hope I said that right. Demix in our chat room over at live.vognetwork.com said, just some kids who watch too many episodes of Boardwalk Empire. Yeah, maybe a little. All right, look, we're moving on. Loki, I gotta keep the show going. It's already an hour in. We're not even to a headline yet. So, Flaco, how was your gaming week?
Mine was pretty good. I played a lot of games this week. On mobile, I was playing Plants vs. Zombies 2, but I've kind of stopped on that and gone back to another game that I had given up on, but I'm back to again, which is Marvel Puzzle Quest. So I've been playing that, and I'm doing pretty well on it. I just checked, and I'm like #1 in this current tournament.
I've been a very bad boy at Marvel Puzzle Quest. I was playing it hardcore for like 3 weeks, and then it was like the 5% thing that Mike was talking about. And I was like, ooh, something shiny, something else to play.
You really have to play that game to really like excel at it.
It's fun. So, I mean, it's basically
really fun.
It's Puzzle Quest, which was a great series. It's basically Puzzle Quest. So
I was really turned off by one of the recent patches, but I've gotten used to the changes they made, and they made a couple fixes to the changes. It's just that they put the changes out right around Comic-Con because they had a panel there, and they kind of changed how a lot of the game works, and I got burned by it. But I still logged in every day and at least did one game to help out my alliance.
That's more than I did. All right.
Because if you just play, everybody gets a little like reward.
Gets a little bit.
I did that. And then, so that's it for my mobile stuff. Oh, I just beat Infamous Second Son finally, which I got for my birthday in June.
Congrats.
So I finished that. That was really fun.
Did you touch the DLC at all yet?
No, the one that came with it, but not the one that just got released. There was like a little bonus one that kind of tied back to the previous games called Cole's Legacy. I played through that, but that's like interwoven in the game. I think the DLC is standalone, the new one. Yeah, which is cool because they did that before with their Halloween DLC for Infamous 2. And I really like that. So I'm definitely going to get it. But I'm also thinking about playing the game again, playing Evil. I played Good. I always play Good. But I've always rented Infamous games before. I never actually owned one. So now that I own it, I'm like, well, I guess I could play it again. I don't have to send it back to GameFly or anything this time. And let's see, outside of that, what else did I play? Oh, Velocity 2X. That's a really fun game. That's one of the free games that came out at the beginning of this month for PlayStation Plus.
Oh, right.
And
I haven't checked that out.
Really awesome. Like, I'm not usually into those kind of games, but it's just it's got like the spaceship levels, and it's got these levels where you go and you fight on the ground. And I'm like, these guys must have really liked Guardian Legend or something, because they're kind of making their own little like indie spin on
now
that.
You just made my eyes light up like, ooh, I'm missing something.
You fly in a ship, you shoot stuff up, and then every once in a while you have to kind of dock, and you have to do these. They're 2D side scroller levels. And you have pretty much the same powers as your spaceship, which is pretty cool. So you can do teleporting, you can shoot things, you run around, and the whole object, through doing that is usually to open up these gates, and you have to shoot the gates in different orders all the time. So maybe gates 1 and 3 are outside. Well, that means you have to go dock the ship after you blow up gate number 1 or lock number 1, whatever you call it, and then go inside the dock. And then on foot, you find lock number 2, you blow that one up, and then you go back outside, you blow up lock number 3, and then the shield is down, and you can go rescue like survivors and stuff. And it's got a really cool story that's worked in. And I don't think I actually played the first Velocity game. I watched my nephew play it, and I was like, oh, that looks okay. But it's just the ship stuff. They added all this other stuff to it now, and it's a really cool game. And I think it got really great reviews too.
Check that out.
It's definitely worth checking out, and the music's fantastic as well.
Is it?
So
All
yeah.
right. Because if somebody
Really-
made like a next gen Guardian Legend, I am here for that.
It's an indie game, so
here
it's,
for that.
it's not quite that, but I can tell these guys are definitely like they like that game. They were inspired, They
Okay.
kinda
That good
put a
enough
little-
for me.
And
Good
it's got a
enough for me.
female protagonist. She's really good, and it's a well written game. I like it a lot.
Excellent. All right. Anything else? Anything else for Game Week?
I think that's it.
My Gaming Week I'll talk about quickly. Besides some of the stuff we talked about earlier in the show with the Fibbage and so forth, which certainly that was a couple of my nights right there on that. But I've been playing some other things as well, including continuing on Final Fantasy XIV and Destiny and Diablo. Yes, I'm playing all those games with some frequency. Not a lot of Destiny, actually. That kind of died down. I'm only level 13 in Destiny. It's not. I don't really have anything against it. It's just trying to juggle all this other stuff I want to play, right? Including the one that's been taking up most of my time this week, new on the Nintendo 3DS this week, Theatrhythm, Final Fantasy Theatrhythm Curtain Call came out this week, which, of course, is the music game from Square Enix that incorporates all of the different music in the Final Fantasy series. It is the second Theatrhythm game to come out that basically completely eliminates the need to ever have the first game, because the second game is just the first game. It's literally everything that was in the first game and more. And like now you can play online against people, and now you've got this quest mode instead of a tower mode, and a different DLC and more 14 and side games like Mystic Quest and Tactics, and games that you weren't sure if Square was going to bring up again. So I really enjoy Theatrhythm Curtain Call. Looking back on my original review of Theatrhythm, some of the things that I had called the game out for being a little bit weak on, I think they've improved definitely in some areas. Especially the song list, with it being so vast, feels a lot stronger. Like there's just so much more that you can kind of get into and play in the song list. And I love now that you can do the online battles, even if it's maybe not completely in balance. I still feel like I could play against friends and still have a pretty decent good time with that. I love there's all these unlockable characters. There's a lot of micromanagement type of things in the game, which can almost be overwhelming. Like these characters have good spirit, and spirit will get you through the field stages, and you have these stats that can boost spirit, but at the then you'll lose something in this stat. So I can see where min-maxers are going to have a field day customizing their characters in Theatrhythm. But at its core, the music game itself, again, there's so many songs in the game that I don't feel the repetition of playing the same stuff over and over. And in the quest mode, some of these quests are very long, and I find it a good way to play like shuffle songs that maybe I wouldn't think to choose otherwise. And I did a long quest the other night, 23 stages. Luckily, I didn't have to do it all in one sitting. But, if you think about it, at 2 minutes a song, that's a good, hours worth of gameplay right there. So, there you go. Final Fantasy Theatrhythm, if you are a fan of music games or Final Fantasy, you're going to have a lot to like here. You probably already have it, honestly, if that sounds like it's up your alley, or it's on order or something. So, that's where I've been spending most of my week, is Theatrhythm Curtain Call. So, all right. Let's move on to some quick housekeeping, and then we'll get into the news tonight. Don't forget, you can always follow us on Twitter, twitter.com/OLR. We're also on Facebook, facebook.com/orangeloungeradio, and Google+, google.com/+ Orange Lounge Radio, and YouTube. We are also on YouTube, username Orange Lounge Radio on YouTube. And you can check out previous episodes of our show there, because, YouTube is on everything, every smartphone, every DS, and so forth. So we'd like to put our archives up there on YouTube as well. There will not be a live show October 19th. We will not be here live. Again, that's October 19th. I will be in Las Vegas for, speaking of Final Fantasy Fan Fest is going on in Vegas. So I'm going to be there representing OLR and VOG, and I really honestly have no idea what to expect. I'm also going to BlizzCon this year, and I have a pretty good idea what to expect at BlizzCon. But Final Fantasy Fan Fest, it might be a lot. It might be the most fun I've ever had in my life. It might be the biggest hot mess I've ever experienced. I don't know, but we'll find out that weekend in October. Trying to work it out with Loki and Dark Sakura so we can tape a show in advance that week. As we, with that in October and BlizzCon in early November, we don't want to have too many weeks where we're not giving you Monday podcast listeners and Sunday Night Live listeners something to listen to. But I do want to warn you, for those of you that make it a point to be here live every Sunday, we will not be here live Sunday the 19th. All right, let's move into some news. We got a lot of news to get into, so let's get started. Loki.
All right. So this is kind of neat. I mean, we've been hearing that I think on the Microsoft side than anything that they're going to be trying to create some sort of internet TV. I think that was the thought when they were doing the whole Xbox entertainment stuff, is that they're trying to go that route. But now the news is coming out that Sony, apparently the games division, is set to launch some sort of like internet TV by the end of this year. And I guess they're saying the Wall Street Journal's basically launching some sort of internet television service, which I'm all down for, because especially if it's tied into the PlayStation Plus, because in that way I don't have to pay for cable or something like that. And also will work to stream to other mobile devices other than Sony's own, I guess, the Vita, and I'm assuming any other stuff that's compatible with the remote play stuff. That's kind of it. They didn't really say that what content's going to be on there, if it's going to be just, I mean, granted, Sony does have their own, television and movie studio.
The thing they talked way too much about at E3, the
towers.
Yeah.
So
that's got to be part of this, right?
Yeah, I would imagine that's part of it as well. But just kind of what else is on there? I don't know, maybe like, are they doing more seasons of the Tester? I mean, I don't know. I don't know.
I think that might be done. Finally.
But I don't know. I think that's cool. If they're going to be doing some original content and stuff on there, I'd check it out. I mean, to me, it seems like about as appealing as even any of the Netflix original shows or something like that. If it's that quality, that'd be pretty cool.
And as much as we poke fun at the Tester and all that, it wasn't awful. Like, it wasn't as bad as you might think. I mean, it was clearly low budget, but it was, it was decent enough. Like, with all the esports competitions and things that go on in the world, maybe Sony could put together something kind of neat, for not too expensive to put out there that people would really want to watch. So
I'd be down with that. Yeah, and it'd be nice if some of these companies, there's the thought is that, I heard that HBO was thinking of going, basically direct to consumer instead of, going through cable and stuff. They're just gonna, start selling their content, to consumers and just cut out the middleman. So it would be interesting if other, stations would do that, although a lot of them are tied with some of these cable companies. So I don't know.
I love this comment in our chat room over at live.vognetwork.com from Fibbage Funfest, who says 24-hour network of Kaz saying Ridge Racer on an endless loop. Why not?
I believe you could probably find that on YouTube already.
That would be sandwiched in between the giant enemy crab hour and the $599 auction site. Who knows?
I would totally be down for, and I know this is absolutely ridiculous, but I'd be totally down for a live action Ridge Racer. I mean, whatever. They tried it with Need for Speed. Let's do it again. I don't care if it's terrible. I would because it's all drifting. It's unbelievable drifting, because that's all you do in Ridge Racer. It's I shouldn't be able to drift that around the corner that way, but I just did, so whatever.
I think there'd be an audience for that, especially if you just played really loud Eurobeat during the whole thing. There'd be a lot of people that would just get high and watch that. Let's be real. It'd be quite a few people that would do that. So I'm not saying I'm one of them. I'm just saying
it would be. I don't know.
They might get some ratings.
Just make it exciting. It doesn't matter what's on TV as long as you make it exciting. People will watch it.
All right. Moving on over to the Microsoft side, we've heard a lot about this, but we want to acknowledge it here in our news segment. It is official after our, we reported on this as a rumor last week, but officially, Mojang was sold to Microsoft this week, $2.5 billion. Mojang going to be joining the internal game studio over at Microsoft, not joining them. Notch, who basically wrote a letter to the industry that I'm really paraphrasing here, is just this has been too much fucking pressure, and I'm never going through this again. Peace out. That's basically the sentence summary I got from Notch's letter. Which
it's more of he's not going to develop official stuff anymore. He's going to do the game jams and stuff like that, the fun stuff, but he's not going to try to create the next Minecraft. And he says even anything he creates, if it does end up kind of getting that sort of viral success, he's just going to nip it in the butt.
Which I can kind of understand. Put yourself in Notch's shoes. Despite all the questionable things he might have said on Twitter or so forth, just put yourself in his shoes. and think like you're making this little game, this little fun project that you don't think is any big deal, and then all of a sudden it is the biggest thing in gaming, literally the biggest thing in gaming, and it is on backpacks and blankets. And, Loki and I just bantered a little bit over the whole gaming Illuminati and all this other stuff and how people act on the internet. I mean, think about all the pressure he must have had and all the stuff that he went through. I can see where he probably cracked. Not everybody is made out to be famous.
It's like, fuck it, I got $2.5 billion. I don't need this shit.
It reminded me on a larger scale of what the guy who did Flappy Bird was complaining about. Remember when he's like, it's too much pressure. It's too big. I don't know what to do.
And Dong Nguyen, I believe he had felt personally responsible for people that became addicted to the game.
Yeah,
and he was hearing stories about people losing their job, and he was kind of like, I don't want to be responsible for that.
Yeah, I think not just comments were like, I'm a game developer. I'm not, I'm not an executive. I'm not a CEO.
I don't know. I don't buy that, honestly. If I made a game and people lost jobs over it because they were so addicted to it, first off, I'd be very complimented by that. And and second, I would be like, well, if you're fucking dumb enough to lose your job over this and playing this game, then too bad. You're just dumb. I mean, you're going to lose your job playing something or doing something. You're just an idiot. So I wouldn't feel pressured by that. But yes, I could see where, you're getting a flack from social media and stuff just over whatever, people sending you death threats and crap. Yeah, I could see how that could get a little bit annoying. But just saying, oh, well, I feel bad because these people are addicted to the game. I would not feel any remorse whatsoever for people being addicted to anything I made.
Demix in our chat room says, I'm addicted to Sour Patch Kids, but I don't blame sugar for it. All right. I want to carry over kind of a conversation that I was having on Horde House on Wednesday, because this story came up on Horde House, and I was talking about Microsoft paid way too much money for Minecraft. They paid $2.5 billion for Minecraft. And I was like, and what kind of blew me away about it especially was that they didn't get Notch with the deal. It seems like what's to say they're going to get lightning to strike twice? Maybe they could try and do an exclusive Minecraft 2, but who knows? It could go over like Farmville 2, right? But Flaco, you responded to the Horde House episode, and I thought what you said was a decent way of thinking. So did Microsoft pay too much for Mojang?
No way.
Okay, and why?
They got a great deal. Look at what they spend, $7 billion on Nokia, and then they just laid all those people off this week. The way I saw it, and I think I stole this probably from someone else I read on the internet, but it was just a commenter, so I don't have to credit them.
That's all right. That's what people on the internet do.
Yeah, I was like, that was a good point. Is if somebody offered the guys who made Legos $2 billion, at the peak of their popularity, you look back at them now and say, oh, those guys were crazy. Lego's worth way more than that. And there's a Minecraft movie coming out, and Mike, we just interviewed him. What's the first thing he said when you asked, what games do you play right now? I got 2 kids. I play Minecraft. And just, it's right there. I think that's what Microsoft saw.
I knew you were going to use that as a weapon the minute he said that.
Oh, yeah. As soon as he said it, there you go.
Damn it. When I asked Flaco about this later, he's going to use that against me. I knew it.
I think Minecraft is a huge thing, and I actually think he got off. I think he just wanted to get rid of it, and Microsoft pretty much just bought the IP. I don't think they care about any of those other games that they're making there, because like you said, they're not getting the game creator. They just want that IP. They want that. They want everything that comes with it. If that movie makes $1 billion, they're already getting close to making their money back.
I will admit, when I was talking about my stuff on Horde House, I wasn't considering the merchandising, which you're right. You walk into any Hot Topic, there's that whole mess of stuff and so forth.
The toy section, Toys R Us, they've got a bunch of stuff there.
My concern is, and it's still a little bit. So I mean that.
Yeah,
that
who else does a lot of merchandising? Rovio and Angry Birds.
Yeah, but I think they've been around longer than that now, right?
And they're making a movie with that too. But is it as popular as it used to be? No.
Is this the point where Minecraft peaks and jumps the shark? Is Minecraft going to continue to grow, or will the audience that made Minecraft big break it? I mean, isn't that kind of a concern too? I mean, I realize the audience has grown bigger than that. Now kids are into it or whatever. But how long until the next big thing?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, at least with this, it's not like the Wii, where once everybody grew out of the Wii, they're not going to obviously buy a thing that's that old. But with Minecraft, it's already timeless because it uses such, low-res graphics to get everything going. It's not like people got into it because it was the next great looking thing. So I think it could just really last forever. I think it's just got something that's going to go on. But yeah, you never know. I mean, it could die out, but like anything that I guess you consider a fad. I just don't think Minecraft's a fad. And this is going to I've never played Minecraft. I'm just looking.
What?
I've never played. I'm an outsider looking in, and I'm just looking at how this thing goes. And it's just like, it's just taken over like this whole aspect of the culture.
Hold on. But why not?
I don't know. It's just not appealed to me.
You say
I
that
like
now.
Legos. I say that now, but
You
see,
say
I
that
have
now.
kids.
Yeah, here's the thing, though.
My kids are 2 and 4, and I have a feeling when they get in that age, and my wife is a teacher. She's a second grade teacher. Her kids talk about Minecraft, and she sees it go through the school like crazy.
Yeah,
I feel like once my kids are old enough, I'm going to be into that
I was
game.
there at one point. I was like, I don't get it. I don't get this game at all.
Yeah.
Played it on 360. Hey, this is pretty fun. Played it on PC. I'm like, crap, I can't play the 360 version anymore because I've played it on PC, and I'm so spoiled with everything that's on here. So, yeah, just try it.
For me, it was just like, I don't think I have the time to invest in. I'm looking at videos of what people can build in Minecraft, like how these large cities, full-scale enterprise replicas, all this crazy stuff they can do.
What? There's ways, you can speed things up, especially on PC.
I know. Just for me personally, I just didn't think about putting that investment in, and I just probably never got into it. It just seemed like a huge undertaking.
I just want to make clear that I'm not one of those people that's like, just because Microsoft bought Minecraft means it will turn to total shit. Like, I'm actually not one of those people. I have concerns. Will Minecraft still be as heavily moddable, especially when we talk like Minecraft 2? Not so much what's currently there, but Microsoft's going to make a Minecraft 2. Come on. That will be a thing that will happen, absolutely. Has to happen, okay? Will it still be as moddable? Will it still have a lot of the stuff that people are kind of like, charmed with the original Minecraft? Or is it going to be really just targeted as a kid's game? But all that being said, I'm not really bothered by the fact that a big company owns a cute little gaming franchise, because Nintendo owns Pokemon, and I don't know anybody that has a problem with that.
Yeah. And
So,
Pokemon's still popular with kids. It's not gone away yet.
If
It's not a
Microsoft
fad.
wants their own Pokemon, which is kind of what this is, they might not be the same game, but in a way, like, hasn't Microsoft really needed like that killer franchise? I mean, they have Halo, but they don't have anything for kids, right? They tried Viva Pinata.
I was like, Viva Pinata? No.
They tried. Well, now they have
Connectimals?
Now they have Minecraft. So to that extent, buying what Viva Pinata couldn't do, I can see that where now, okay, maybe it was worth $2.5 billion.
Yeah, but I still think that's kind of small scale stuff. I think it's the overall franchise that's the big picture of just keeping that going, that brand. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how the movie does, and we'll see if I don't know. I think if Microsoft makes a Minecraft 2 too soon, it could leech from that other audience and it could dilute it. I don't know.
That's true.
I feel like you just gotta let Minecraft do its thing.
Yeah. Where is that sweet spot to make a Minecraft 2,
Yeah, I don't know. What would you do? I mean, would you make better graphics? That's not what sold Minecraft. Like I said, it's because it's just, I don't know, it's its own thing. It's like Lego blocks in your computer, and like I don't know what you could change to make it better, but I don't know. Maybe people who played it would know that.
Maybe more of the game elements itself, such as the monsters that you fight, and that part of it maybe can be expanded on, and how you go into other worlds. I mean, I don't know. I'm not like, don't take my words for it. I hope that Microsoft is tapped in enough to the Minecraft community to hear about what they want. Like, what have they been begging Notch to do for forever? Loki, do you know?
That's true.
Do you know more about that? What have people been begging Notch to do? You're more tapped into Minecraft than either of us.
Fuck. I don't know. They're just adding a ton of stuff to it, but now I think the big thing is that the bucket support's discontinued, so that's a little disappointing because that was a big modding thing. It's like yeah, we want to do a lot more with Minecraft, and so use bucket to do all that stuff. Whether it be just utility things like world guard and stuff, so people can't fuck up parts of your world, or doing the different scripting things and stuff to where you can have like a mob arena, which is pretty awesome. Or, I want to have MP3s playing in my background, or I want to have, guns in the game, or I want to, or not necessarily guns, but just like cool, like, projectile weapons, or I want to have, magic spells or whatever. So, I think that's kind of, people are a little disappointed in that. Now they're saying that, Mojang is supposed to be carrying that on still. They're going to be porting it over, and I guess they're supposed to have official mod support at some point. So once that happens, then maybe we won't need all this bucket stuff. And it'll just be kind of lumped in there and it'll work. Hopefully, I hope that includes also like skin mods and stuff. Like not necessarily like just changing the skins because you can do that pretty easy, but like adding new blocks and adding new things like they have in Forge right now, where you can add cars or planes and stuff, and it's not actually composed of stuff in the game. It's brand new geometry. Or I can take a picture or something like that.
Bochikawa in our chat room at live.vognetwork.com says the issue why we are saying Minecraft 2 is because we know that Microsoft wants to make a profit off this, and unless they sell a new game or more merchandise, what else could they do? I'd be afraid they are going to sell expansions or just large patches. Don't underestimate the merchandising side of that, though. Again, walk into any Hot Topic, there's like a whole wall dedicated to Minecraft, and that's just one store. But I do see your point. Anyway, we could spend 3 hours hypothesizing about the future of Minecraft, but I want to keep things moving, so let's change gears a little bit here. And Flaco, what do you have for us?
I have a Final Fantasy 15 story. So Square announced that Tetsuya Nomura, terrible names, is going to be stepping away from Final Fantasy 15. He'll be focusing on other projects, Type 0 and Before Crisis Final Fantasy.
Type 0.
Type 0. That's what he's going to work on, right? Yeah. Okay. And let's see. Yeah, he's going to shift. The quote here is he's going to shift efforts to production of titles that can only be made possible by Nomura himself, including the upcoming Kingdom Hearts 3. So that's what I'm excited about, because I'm more of a Kingdom Hearts fan now than Final Fantasy. I was a big Final Fantasy fan back in the day, but I haven't played a Final Fantasy game, a new one, in a while, other than the MMO ones. So yeah, and then they also announced at the same time they're going to have a demo coming out for 15 when Final Fantasy Type 0 HD comes out, and on the PS4 and the Xbox One. And then there was like a further update that it's going to be on the PS4 on March 20th. So it's not just going to be bundled in with the game. It sounds like it's also going to be on the store.
Now,
at first I thought it was just going to be with the game.
That news makes me more excited than anything, because finally, 9 years after they announced this game, like you're like, a demo, it's happening.
Yeah, that's a good sign. It's going to happen.
Finally. So that part's exciting. I mean, the part about Nomura leaving and it's not, I mean, I wondered how he was going to juggle both games with Kingdom Hearts 3, being a thing. So that part I'm not so surprised with. But, the fact that a demo will happen next year, they've pretty much confirmed that's happening. That's exciting.
Yeah, and, I wasn't, super excited for 15 until I started to see more stuff come out that it looked like is a lot more like Kingdom Hearts style play. And that's something I think I'm more on now than the old school kind of RPG play. Like I said, I didn't really play 13. I didn't play even 12. So it's been a long time since I've gotten into Final Fantasy. So I'm excited to try the demo and see if it plays kind of like a Kingdom Hearts game.
Something not on the show roll tonight, but about Final Fantasy and 13 and stuff, is that they did announce the PC version of Final Fantasy 13, 13.2, and Lightning Returns. They're going to port all those to PC. That is a thing they're doing. I don't know if that's
cool.
Are they
I think it's starting
bundled
next month,
in, or
too.
are they all separate games?
They're going to be separate, but Final Fantasy 13 is the first one, and that's out in early October.
Steam sale.
Yeah, I know. Well, Square apparently really buffing up their Steam, because Final Fantasy 4, which I didn't talk about in my gaming week because I bought it, but I haven't played it yet. But Final Fantasy 4, the DS version that was then ported to iOS and Android, has now been ported to PC, and so that has been released on Steam.
Square, Final Fantasy 6, please.
Right? Well, but here's the thing. The Final Fantasy VI that's on iPad and all that, they kind of outsource some of the graphical development.
I want the one that was on PSP.
Yeah,
or Wii,
I wouldn't mind the whole 3D remake, but I just don't see them doing any more of those. So, and the problem is Final Fantasy V. And I'm not saying Final Fantasy V is bad, but because of that weird place where Final Fantasy V kind of is, especially with U.S. history, they would have to do that before they go to 6. Well, I don't think they have to, but I think there's this feeling they would need to. I think they should just go straight to 6 and make the 3D port of that, but maybe that ship sailed. I don't know. I mean, these were DS ports, and now we're on new 3DS coming soon, so... There you go. Fifth Dream wants to point out in our chat room at live.vognetwork.com, Final Fantasy 13 is already on sale on Steam. It's 10% off if you pre-order. That's a good point. And it's not like it was a $60 game. I think they were only going for what? Was it like $19.99 maybe? Somebody has to look up that price and let me know real quick. But I that is one perk about 13 on Steam, is that because they know the game is so old, like they're not going to charge $60 for it. So that's pretty good. So, all right. Let's move on to release dates. We're going to travel the world and check out what games you can get right now. You might have to wait a couple weeks for 13 on Steam and a few months for 15, but what can you get right now this week?
This week, you can get Disney Infinity 2.0, Marvel Superheroes. They have the starter packs for PlayStation 3, Xbox 360, PlayStation 4, Xbox One, and Wii U, as well as they have the collector's editions on the PlayStation platforms, and all the figures and shit you can get for, Guardians of the Galaxy and the Avengers and Spider-Man. So a ton of stuff, especially if you're a fan of Marvel. EA's got FIFA 15 coming out on PlayStation 3, Xbox 360, PlayStation 4, and Xbox One. They're also doing the Legacy Editions, which basically is taking, I think at this point, FIFA 12 or something, and updating the roster and just popping it back out, selling it for the 3DS, the Wii, and the Vita, I believe. Also, this week, if you want to buy the physical version of Killer Instinct, the Combo Breaker Pack, they have that coming out on Xbox One, and it gives you a bonus character for Season 2 as well. And let's see here. Our No Surge Ode to an Unborn Star coming out on PlayStation 3. And Arcana Heart 3 Love Max on PlayStation 3 and Vita. And let's see here. Finally, Hyrule Warriors on Wii U. That's it.
Excited about that one, definitely.
It looks pretty cool.
Yeah, it's going to be cool. An interesting case for Nintendo where Europe got it first. Europe got it this weekend. We have to wait. That usually doesn't happen with Nintendo, so Nintendo finally giving the folks overseas a break there with the release dates, so that's interesting.
They've gotten plenty of breaks from Nintendo. They got the last story, and they got
That's true. That's true. I guess I can't feel too bad for
them. They don't have to go to GameStop to buy that one.
Exactly. All right, fair enough. Just a couple comments from our chat room. Dungeon Buster clarifying the price of Final Fantasy 13. It is $15.99, but for right now it is $14.39.
Oh, that's not bad.
For Final Fantasy 13 on Steam. Yeah, that's really not that bad. Yeah, and DJ Rama S says there's no reason to charge $60 for Final Fantasy 13. Squeenix already made their money off it. And Bochikawa says $16. No, really, that's worth it. If you've never played it, get it. Let's see.
I haven't finished it. I mean, does that count?
What games are on PC still? Is it just 6, 9, and
5,
10?
5, 6, 9, 10, 12.
And 12. Okay.
Yeah.
That's
so
crazy.
we're getting there. Actually, 1 and 2. I don't believe ever have an official PC release.
Oh, I could have sworn they were on there too.
No, I don't think so. I could be wrong.
No, you're probably right.
They were iOS.
I keep thinking about those ones, but yeah,
those are the ports of the PSP games.
Yeah.
So anyway, let's see. Also, I know you don't usually cover digital distribution in your release dates, Loki, but folks in our chat room are talking about Gauntlet, the reimagining or whatever of Gauntlet's out this week. So, as a fan of Diablo, that's up my alley, I think.
It's not a Gauntlet. It's not Gauntlet like Legacy or Legends or whatever. Or not Legacy. Yeah, Legacy was crap. No, Gauntlet Legends or was it the what was the other one? Dark something. I don't remember what it was called.
Dark Legacy, right?
Dark Legacy.
Yeah.
That's what it was.
Anyway, going to Japan and checking out some of the release dates over there. While I horribly mispronounce some of their release dates, they have a few things on PlayStation 3 this week. Iu Densetsu Sen no Kisuke 2 in a regular and limited CD bundle set. And then Kamisama to Unme Kakusei no Cross Thesis. And Tears to Tiara 2, How no Matsue comes out this week on PlayStation 3. I have no idea what any of those games are.
Tears of Tiara 2 is coming out here next month, actually. It's you play a princess, and
Yay.
Yes. It's heir to
princess.
I forget what the subtitle is, like heir to something, heir to the king, or I don't know what it's called.
The Wii U has a game out this week on the 27th called Zero. Noregarasu no Miko comes out this week. This is not... Oh, this is Fatal Frame is what this is over in Japan. That's right. This is the Wii U Fatal Frame that's coming out over there. I thought Japan had Bayonetta 2 this week, and I don't see it on my list here. Maybe that was this past week, and I just missed the boat on that. But I know Bayonetta 2 is very, very soon in Japan. And lastly, PlayStation Vita. There's a whole lot of crap on the Vita this week in Japan. Bakumatsu Rock Ultra Soul, Dungeon Travelers 2, Farming Simulator 14, Monobeno Pure Smile, and Zetai Zetsubo Shoju Danganronpa, another episode comes out.
I believe that's Danganronpa 2, maybe. No, they wouldn't be getting that after us. That must be the third one then.
And quickly, the 3DS releases Tenkai Knight's Brave Battle, Haiku Tsunage Itadake no Kishike in regular and limited edition, and lastly, oh boy, this is Kuke Zaiden Hojin Nippon Kanji Noryoku Kente Kaiukai Kanken Training. I'm thinking this is a learn kanji game, is what it looks like from the screenshots and stuff, because you can actually draw and all that good stuff. So there you go. Flaco, I know Dark Soccer usually does the UK dates, but maybe you can help us out?
Sure, we have Gauntlet. I believe it's the Gauntlet reboot on PC. It's September 23. Let's see, Stronghold Crusader 2 on PC. I don't know what that is. Anna, the extended edition on Xbox 360. Sounds exciting. FIFA 15 on everything on September 25th. Vita, 3DS, Wii, even the Wii. PlayStation 4, Xbox.
And that's like a Madden game coming out here. So
yeah.
That's
So it's kind of a big deal over there. So Xbox One, 360, PlayStation 3, and PC. And then The Vanishing of Ethan Carter, another PC game. And also on PS4. So, and then let's see, there's one other game on September 26th, Fantasy Life on the 3DS.
All right. Just a couple more stories for you guys, and then the classic game of the week, which I'll give you a little hint to think about this. In honor of the guests that we had tonight, no, I didn't pick any of their games, although I was tempted. But I decided to pick another one of my favorite. I don't even know if you can call it a game show, but a game-esque. We'll leave it at that. A game-esque sort of thing. I know, a video game that's a game, go figure. But you'll know what I mean when we get there. It feels like a game show when you play it. So just a couple more news stories, and I'll tell you what it is. Loki.
All right. So this is pretty cool. PlayStation now joins Microsoft and Nintendo, or I should say Sony, I guess, it joins them. And basically giving out Unity Pro for free to any developers of the PlayStation platform. So if you're a licensed PlayStation developer, you can get Unity for free. Normally costs $1,500 to get the Pro version, or $75 per month if you go that route. And that's pretty awesome because, originally Microsoft made that offer as well. If you're going to do the ID at Xbox stuff, you get Unity Pro. And then Nintendo also offering the same thing. So that's awesome if you've got a track record of releasing games and stuff, and you happen to be an official, licensed developer, save some cash there. Just because if you're an indie, you're going to need all the cash you can get. So that's pretty cool. And then, of course, came out during their, was it the Oculus VR? They had some sort of Oculus Connect event, and it came out that Unity 5 is going to have a target platform, which will be the Oculus Rift. And you'll be able to build for that, which is pretty awesome. And that, unlike it is now, will be available in Unity Free as well, on top instead of just Unity Pro as it is right now. So, looking forward to that too. Whenever 5 comes out, because 5 is going to be amazing.
Will you be porting your project to the Oculus?
I don't think it really fits for the Oculus. I could just to do 3D, but
just for fun.
Other than that, it wouldn't really benefit from it.
Right. I think Oculus will really be here in our little hands as a consumer device next year. I know
They
that's
said
what
by
they're
the
saying.
summer.
That's exciting if that happens.
It's going to be expensive, though.
It will be expensive, but it's going to have the Morpheus potentially next holiday.
But here's
so
my
it's
problem.
Going to be a very interesting VR year next year.
I like the idea of the Oculus Rift. I like the idea of the Morpheus a little bit better, only because, and not because. The only reason I like the Morpheus a little bit better is it's plug and play.
Having played neither.
Having played neither. No. This doesn't have anything to do with the capabilities of the systems. I'm talking about the fact that it has that separate box that does all the processing. So, for example, if I bought the Oculus Rift for my laptop, that thing would run like shit because my laptop is not powerful enough to be able to run that. see if they had some sort of external box that did like the extra processing and work that out. If it was just plug and play like a mouse or something, that would be fantastic.
Knowing that there's that baseline that Morpheus is going to have, that it's all going to be the same, I totally get that allure there. Although I do understand Oculus has their, like we talked about that headset last week or the week before, where there's going to be certain standards as well. It is, I can see what you're talking about with that, where it's like, it has the processing power it needs.
That's the only thing I think is going to be the biggest hurdle with getting that mainstream, is just that your average mom and pop that are thinking about, oh, that's kind of cool. Like, say they develop something for social media or browsing the internet or some shit like that, that really catches on. You're going to need a pretty powerful PC to be able to utilize that. And a lot of these people just have a fucking basic ass computer or whatever to just browse the internet. And so it's just, I know it's not necessarily for everyone, but I kind of wish it was a little bit, easier to, utilize.
Well, maybe this last story here will have the processing power needed to play all this stuff on VR. And it's something that Square Enix announced this week. Tokyo Game Show, they had a lot of announcements this week. And they're going to be rolling out a cloud-based gaming service, and it's called Shinra Technologies. Yes, after that Final Fantasy VII, which is interesting, a way to go with it. Wasn't Shinra the bad guys in Final Fantasy VII?
Yes, they were the company the harnessing the power of, was it the Mako and...
Like, what was the company in Terminator? Would you really want to call your company that?
Skynet.
Skynet. Would you really want to call your company Skynet? But all right, whatever. So they're going to have Shinra Technologies. It's going to be helmed by Yoichi Wada, who used to be president. And it's an evolution of what we were seeing was Project Flare. And it's going to be a separate subsidiary, and it will be doing cloud gaming with a virtual supercomputer. The tech will be pooling hundreds or thousands of CPUs and GPUs in a data center to boost processing power and deliver higher quality games. It's like one super powered game console. And they give an example here, Director of Partnerships Colin Williamson saying, so let's say you're fighting in a city block doing all this damage. In a traditional game, if you drive a few blocks in the other direction and come back, everything is magically reset. Shinra technology allows the worlds to change dynamically and have permanence. It also takes the burden off the developers to figure out tricks and workarounds to give the illusion of a persistent world. Our worlds can truly have history. I remember Square talking about something like this before with the whole, and maybe it was that Project Flare thing, but it's interesting to see this continue. So I'm wondering, it doesn't sound like they're trying to put out a service, like they're not trying to compete with PlayStation Now or something like that. It sounds like they're developing this for their own games.
It just sounds a lot like, was it Microsoft's Azure servers, where they're doing that same shit with like Crackdown and stuff, where you can dynamically destroy buildings and stuff like that, and they don't have to worry about calculating everything in the game because it does it on the server side. It just sounds like that's kind of what they're doing. I don't know. They already have they have things that can do that already. I don't know. Whatever. It'll be interesting to see what they do with it.
No date for when the service will be launching, but beta tests for the U.S. and Japan expected to start early 2015. So this could be another thing that we're going to see for the holidays. Who knows? All right. Well, let's go back. Let's go back to a time when gaming was a little simpler. You didn't have cloud computing, and you didn't have headsets and VR. Well, I guess maybe you sort of did. You had the Virtual Boy, but this is even before that. We're going to do the classic game of the week. Every week here on Orange Lounge Radio, Dark Sakura steps...
Technically, they did have a headset for the Vectrex.
That's true. All right, shut up. All right. Every week, Dark Sakura steps into the gaming vault and finds a game that she thinks, hey, you kids should be checking this out. Forget all this new stuff. Worship this classic. And since she's not here tonight, I'm here to pick the classic game of the week, and I'm going to break her streak of the CPS2 games she's been doing. This is because you wouldn't pick Quiz and Dragons, which, by the way, she told me in an email, well, that was a CPS1 game. So, you know what? Dark Sakura, if you're out there listening, I just broke your streak. But with good reason, because you know what, darn it, this game here is a true classic. It's from the Nintendo Entertainment System, and let's see if anybody can recognize it from the music. I already told you it's a game show-esque type of game. Here it is. That's right. The classic game of the week this week is Anticipation. Anticipation for the Nintendo Entertainment System. That's right. The board game that you could play as a trumpet, a teddy bear, an ice cream cone, or a pair of high heels. Guess which one I always picked? The ice cream cone. What were you thinking? Because I like ice cream. So there it is. Anticipation is the classic game of the week. And yes, again, it was a rare game for the original Nintendo Entertainment System. Released in the North America on in November of 1988. Europe got a release October 25th, 1989. I don't believe it was ever released in Japan. You might know this game from the epic box art of all these affluent white people having fun is what the box art is. It's just like, oh, we just, we
white people having
yeah, exactly.
fun.
We took a little trip to the countryside and, found some sweaters and polos and got these people having fun. So, okay, if you don't know what Anticipation is, it's basically a board game. It's a board game / Pictionary type game. So you pick a piece in the game, like I said, the shoes, the horn, the ice cream cone, or the teddy bear. And as you go around the board and land on a square, the game, not another user, because remember, the NES controller could only do so much. So the computer would slowly draw a picture on the screen. And as the picture is being drawn on the screen, the dice would count down from 6 to 5 to 4 to 3 to 2 to 1. So if you wanted to get a high roll, or if you're thinking the strategery behind the game, which is what color do I need to finish up all the colors for level, then you have to buzz in at a certain time and hope nobody beats you to it. So, yeah, you buzz in when you know the answer, and then you put in your guess for what is being drawn on the screen at that moment. So, which in the YouTube, we just saw a fishing hook being drawn, and the little high heels won a yellow piece for guessing that it was a
that totally looks like Trivial Pursuit.
I was going to say, this is Trivial Pursuit meets Connect the Dots with Phoebe Herman.
It sort of is. It's like Trivial Pursuit / and look, I already know this one. This is Sausage. That's being drawn right there. I have played so much of this game. I don't.
That would not have been my guess.
That's the TTP for this game.
Look, I know this is horrible radio, but just trust me, y'all. It was drawn a sausage.
They were totally not drawing a penis.
It does look a little bit like a penis, but anyway. In the earlier levels, there's dots on the screen to help you know what it is. But in the later levels, there's no dots. There's no dots. And later levels on the board will start to mess with you too. Like you get to gray squares that are feature squares, where if you land on them, a little bit of disco music plays while your piece flies around the board and you have to hit the button to land on a particular spot. And then on the fourth level, there are gaps present where spaces have been removed. And if you land on one of the pitfall spaces, you fall to the third level and have to finish out your colors again to ascend to the fourth level. So as you can imagine, this game took a little time to play. But remember, the dice count down 6, 5. So if you know how many spaces you are away from the hole, you just know not to buzz in on that number, right? So that's how it works. So yeah, then once you fill up all the colors on the fourth level, then you win. Congratulations. So there it is. I don't know if there's a lot else I could say about this game because
I think you said it all.
I think I literally said it all.
That's the entire
and that's a race.
game.
That's a race car being drawn right now. I guess. See the big wheels with the dots. There it is.
It's hard entering those words in with you get 20 seconds to go back and forth on the letters. And
yes.
And you can only make one mistake.
That's true.
If you make your second mistake, it's like you lose.
Does it let you screw up with the spelling? I can't remember.
One time it will.
It'll let you
It'll
screw
do
up
one
time.
mistake. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yep.
So if you get one of those really hard to guess words.
Yeah, or if you get a really long one or one of those multiple words, it's tough to type all that in with just like you said, an NES controller on an alphabet that goes front to back. Luckily, it'll let you go back the other way, of course.
Helicopter.
I believe that is a helicopter.
a
Good job. See, Loki, you would have been a pro at this. Did you ever play this, Loki?
No.
Flaco, did you play this?
Yes,
at all?
I did play this.
All right, see, good. At least I'm not the only one. So.
I love these kind of games.
I never owned it, but I read about it in Nintendo Power, and I was like, that sounds so cool. So because that's what I sounded like as a kid. That's so cool. And so we rented it.
I got a bunch of hand-me-down games from my uncles, so I just got the most random games. I was glad this one. The Trojan. I had so many weird games.
All right, so there it is, your classic game of the week, Anticipation for the Nintendo Entertainment System. Good party fun. Party game, just like we had Fibbage earlier in the show, like a modern party game. So there you go. I do. There is a part of me, though, that wishes they'd bring back anticipation in some form or another. I mean, think about it. You could draw on your smartphone now. You could do like a Pictionary thing.
Hey,
right?
the sketch game on.
Oh yeah, the Wario.
The
Game and Wario.
Game
right?
and Wario. Yeah, that sketch game is super fun.
Yeah, describe this real quick for the listeners, because you made me play this.
Pretty much Pictionary, but what it is, everybody kind of takes their picture with the gamepad. That's your icon, show your face, and then everybody takes a turn being the person who draws while everybody else guesses. And when somebody gets the correct guess to the person drawing, like clicks on their picture on the tablet and gives them a point, and then it moves on to the next one. And it's pretty much just Pictionary, but it works really well. It's super fun. It's weird what they choose for you to draw sometimes. I can't think of anything on top of my head, but some of them
were
so
really
obscure.
like complicated.
It's like, oh, here, draw a bucket, and now draw. I don't know, something with like a color.
Draw Beethoven's Fifth Symphony.
Yeah,
it's
something
like,
ridiculous. I wouldn't be surprised, but something ridiculous. And it's like, wait a second, it's like super long. It's like a big hard concept to get. So, but no, it's really fun.
All right, so clearly anticipation influenced all this stuff.
Of course, it influenced everything. It influenced You Don't Know Jack. It influenced
Minecraft. I should have asked
Mike
Mike about that. How much were you influenced by anticipation? Because I know this show wouldn't exist without it. All right. Anyhow, all right, we're gonna take a break. Demix in chat says platypus. I think that was one of them. Platypus? Probably. All right. Anyway,
there a lot of stuff in there. I was actually impressed.
All right, we're going to take a break, guys. When we come back with more of Orange Lounge Radio, we got some rapid-fire news, the Fugle question of the week. We're going to talk about violent video games for ice cream. We talked about ice cream in anticipation, and now this campaign that anticipation has inspired for trading in violent video games for ice cream.
They better give me a lot of ice cream for that violent video game.
The FUs of the week and your calls at 1-877-GAME-OLR or our username on Skype, Orange Lounge Radio. When we come back after this with more of Orange Lounge Radio. Welcome back, everybody, to Orange Lounge Radio live on this Sunday night, September the 21st of 2014, with the 568th episode of our show already in progress. And if you're just joining us, well, you've missed a lot. I don't know what else to tell you. You have missed way too much. You're going to have to go back and listen on our podcast feed. It's a good thing that you can find this show on our podcast feed on Stitcher Radio, TuneIn Radio, whatever podcast app you use. You can find that early Monday morning and always catch up with any part of the show you missed. But tonight, obviously we had an interview with Jackbox Games on the program talking about their new release Fibbage, as well as talking about You Don't Know Jack. And basically we got it confirmed that a 2015 version's coming, which is awesome. And not only that, you missed Loki ranting on a topic you were wondering when he was going to rant about in part A on the show. We got that tonight. And most importantly, anticipation. And
that's nothing. That's seriously nothing. I may have to make a video at some point.
All right. And the game that has influenced all games since, Anticipation, is our classic game of the week. We talked about that as well. But we have plenty more show to come, and, of course, your calls a little later on in the program. Maybe your emails, although I didn't see any when I went in there earlier, so we might not have that tonight. And rapid-fire news. Quickly, though, if there's one thing we talk about that's different than video games and gaming, one thing that we always talk about here on the program is food. And Alan reminded me before we went live tonight that I had to talk about this restaurant that we went to on Friday night. So did you guys know that out in, and Flaco, I'm looking at you because I know you're a big fan of this stuff, out in Roseville, they have a Brazilian grill place now.
I wanted to know what you guys thought of that.
It was, and I'll tell you this, it was not bad at all. I was very impressed.
That's awesome. They had one on, I want to say it's Madison.
Yeah,
for
was
a
it? Yeah, that one that used to be over on Madison.
It was there for like a month. I swear, it was not there for long, and it was okay.
This place really felt like a ripoff of Espetu's. Okay, if you don't know what we're talking about, because obviously we're talking about local restaurants, Brazilian Grill, right? That's where they bring the big slabs of meat on the sword, and then they're going to slice off something like they ask, or you have the little dial.
You have like a stop sign or a dial, whatever.
In this particular case, it's a coaster that you have on, like green is bring me more meat, and red is stop bringing me meat. But then they bring something over to your table and it's like, do you want this? Do you want this? And so they've had...
The answer is always yes.
Answer is always yes. And they pretty much had everything that Espetu's had. The one thing, though, and I know this would disappoint you guys, they did not have chicken hearts.
Yay!
I didn't.
Actually, I don't like chicken hearts, but my wife loves them, and I always get them for me, and then I push them onto her plate.
I don't like that stuff either, but I'll tell you what, that was some of the best top sirloin I have ever had.
Man.
Was so good, and then they have like the garlic steaks and the chicken wrapped in bacon and all. Sorry if I'm making you hungry,
No,
but oh my god, it was so good.
I have to try that place. It sounds awesome.
And then they had the full salad thing with like.
See,
all
I
these
like
different-
that too. Even though it ends up like kind of ripping you off because you're like, oh, but it's so good. Like you got to fill up on these little things, and you're like, oh, now I have less room for meat. I just like to think there needs to be some kind of balance in there, though, right? Or else it just sits like a brick in your stomach.
Yeah.
I always, that's what I always feel.
Well, they
So
have
I
the-
grab a little bit of everything from the salad bar, not everything, but stuff that I know I'd like, and then I definitely get all the meats just rolling in.
And then they have the fried banana, which I never knew this until our waitress said it. The reason why they bring you fried banana is because it resets your palate.
Oh,
Because
okay.
banana is such a strong flavor. And she says, we want you to experience all the different meat flavors that we have. I'm like, I am here to experience them. So that will not be a problem. So, yeah, so they have that and then the little cheese bread. But this place, for some reason, brings you mashed potatoes, too, which, you know, what else goes great with steak? Mashed potatoes, right?
Oh, that'll really fill you up. See, they're trying to make their money back.
Yeah. Because then this place was what? I think it's what, $45 a plate?
Is it, as I was saying, what is it price-wise? But, okay, so that's about the same as Espatu's, $45-50, I think is
Yeah.
what Espatu's is now.
But talk to me off air because I might have gotten a little thingy for 15% off.
Oh.
So, yeah, more meat. More meat.
I got to try this place out.
So anyhow, all right. Sorry for the food deviation, but I knew Flaco would have to know about the Brazilian grill trip. And Loki, I'm sure you've got to be wanting to go to this. at some
We
point.
already we drove past it while they were building it because we wanted to go there one time, but it wasn't open yet. So
And I forgot the name. You guys are asking me what it's called, and I forgot the name. It was like Fire and Flames or something like that. Flames and Fire, something like that. It didn't have a fancy sounding name like Espatu's in San Francisco, which, you know, they don't pay me to talk about how freaking great that food is. But
So good. It's so expensive.
It's expensive.
So
That's
good.
a-
that's how they get you.
that's a
right?
celebration dinner place.
Yeah.
All right. Anyhow, Alan Alchemy's in chat. He woke up to talk about this. He says that Alan said there were some things that weren't great. The filet mignon and the plain pork roast was meh, but the top sirloin and bacon wrapped chicken and the pork sausage, oh my God. And Alan says, flame and fire. Brad, our buddy from Pod Culture, saying it would not be OLR without food-related sidetracks. Absolutely. Food is what gives me the fuel to play video games all night long. Speaking of Brad from Pod Culture, stay tuned to what they're doing over there. And Pod Culture, also on the Voice of Geeks Network, vognetwork.com, Monday night. He was just at a convention this weekend, and you won't believe the interviews these guys get at conventions. They talk to everybody. They talk to everybody at these conventions. And all I'm going to say is, if you're a Doctor Who fan, you might want to go check out Pod Culture's feed like ASAP. That's all I'm telling you guys. Check them out on Monday here at VOG Network. All right, we got to get back into video games. We are having a long show tonight, but with good reason. There's a lot to talk about. But we do have some rapid-fire news coming at you. Loki.
all right, so this is pretty exciting. Although I don't think my phone's going to be able to run it, but Goat Simulator is now out on iOS and Android. $5, and you can play the game. It has all the bugs. They say from the PC version.
Your phone won't run it? What, Loki? You mean you weren't out there getting an iPhone 6 on Friday? The 6 Plus? You
No,
weren't there?
I don't, because I've got this nice plan through T-Mobile where I don't have to pay. It's basically not on any sort of yearly contract thing, and it's cheap because I can't afford more expensive phone
And you
plans.
don't get service anywhere on Tijuana
I
Mobile.
don't
That is
get
what I
service
noticed.
anywhere. But, that's okay because I don't have a lot of minutes, so it's all right.
enough.
But I get unlimited data. That's why I use more anyways.
That's
So
true.
who gives a shit about fucking phone minutes? Anyways, but yeah. So I don't have a very. I have just a Galaxy 2, so it's slow. But yeah, so you can check it out, and of course, the Xbox One version will be coming out later on. But it doesn't look bad actually. It just looks a little bit mobilized, but pretty cool. And then this is kind of neat. Borderlands Online is coming back to the original game. Remember, it originally had GameSpy as its online provider, but now they've converted that over to Steamworks. So patched, and now you can play multiplayer online as well. So that's pretty sweet. And
I like how they did that when Destiny's the big thing right now. Like, hey, come back to Borderlands because we just patched it so you can do that again. I don't know if that was intentional or just
No,
a coincidence.
I think
They also
it's-
have that pre-sequel coming out. So
Yeah, I think it's just just fixing a problem that they had with the GameSpy networks and stuff. And last but not least, Harmonix has announced that they are closing their submissions for Rock Band Network. So basically, effective immediately. They are no longer allowing people to submit songs to the Rock Band Network. Now, this doesn't mean that it's going away. Apparently, though, that they are going to be, I think, still allowing you to check out those downloads. So that's kind of cool.
I'd be curious, though, they've kind of hinted that Rock Band will come back in some form at some point. Like, there's been the polls and things like that. So I wonder how this might transfer over to that, or if it will. I mean, who knows? I would think robust DLC is going to be a big part of Rock Band's future, should it have one.
Yeah, I mean, I think it was kind of cool that this kind of carried on even beyond the fact that, or beyond, I guess, when they were offering, the official DLC stuff. And there was a lot of stuff in there that was like different genres that you couldn't even find elsewhere. And God, I kind of wish I had checked out more of the tracks. I mean, they had 2,000 tracks in there.
Yeah.
So that's ridiculous.
Good times. All right, well, one game we talked about a lot last week because of the demo, and some of you guys, I'm sure, are really getting into this week with the Open to All demo having been released on Friday. Smash Brothers. That's right. Smash Brothers for 3DS came out in Japan over this past week. I'm sure you guys have seen people on Twitch playing this, and you're seeing all the spoilers about what characters are unlocked in this, and there's a lot of people playing Smash Brothers on the Nintendo 3DS. 1 million sold in Japan in the first 2 days. 1 million. That includes digital and physical sales. Of course, as we all know, Nintendo absolutely ruined and going bankrupt as a company. That was said with tongue-in-cheek. 1 million copies of Smash Brothers for 3DS sold. Good on them. Good on them. Some people, though, missing Ice Climbers from the game. Spoiler alert, Ice Climbers are not in it. There is no Ice Climbers to be found in the game, although a lot of the other characters did come back. Ice Climbers did not. Masahiro Sakurai explained in Famitsu why the Ice Climbers didn't come out, and they were running on the Wii U version of the game, but due to technical limitations, probably with that 3DS version, they were cut from both versions. And he said, Ice Climbers as a franchise, it's not really a thing. I mean, this is a years-old game. Nintendo has not revisited this franchise. It's probably not coming back. The delay between the two versions of Smash Brothers on the Wii U and the 3DS, though, was simply due to debugging, not because of character changes or anything like that. Of course, I love that Ice Climber is so old, and people don't really think about it anymore, yet we're getting Duck Hunt Dog in the new Smash Brothers. Now, to be fair, though, I love that as a character. Who has not wanted to shoot that fucking dog at some point in their life? Everybody remember, like, if you played Duck Hunt when you were a kid, I know we have listeners of all ages, but we're all in this room around the same age. You played Duck Hunt as a kid, Flaco.
Of
How many
course.
times did you want to choke that fucking dog?
I shot that dog multiple times, but he's impervious.
And
He's invincible.
There was always that rumor that some kid in your elementary
I
school
heard that
shot
too.
the damn dog somehow.
Oh, I was able to shoot the dog. It's
Yeah.
always that one guy who makes everything up.
That's
I
right.
hate
Well,
that guy.
now that can be a reality. But see, Ice Climbers didn't really have any urban legends other than it sucked.
I haven't seen how the Duck Hunt dog plays. Does it play like the Ice Climbers? Is like the two characters kind of...
No,
Is
it's
it just
a
the dog?
duck.
Or the
He has
duck's-
a duck that kind of follows
Okay.
him around.
It's not like you kind of one part's the duck and one part's the dog. Okay,
Yeah.
I wasn't sure because I've
Duck
watched
dog.
Apparently,
Duck-
other
Sounds like Ice Climbers.
apparently other lightning gun things are used as well. Like I think like some of the things from Gyromite come out too, and just really obscure shit, which is
I love the really
awesome.
obscure shit. That's what makes it interesting.
Demix in our chat says, I think Duck Hunt inspires more nostalgia than Ice Climbers. Well, that Nintendo set, the action set or whatever it was called, that came with the Mario Brothers Duck Hunt combo cartridge, that sold more than anything. So I think most people played Duck Hunt whether they liked it or not. It was like, ooh, I have Mario Brothers. Oh, in this other game. Yeah. And then it was World Class Track Meet in a later set that came with it too. But all right, anyway. Moving on to other news, we've talked about this convention previously on the show. We actually had one of the organizers on a previous episode, and maybe we'll have to have him back because GX3, which used to be known as GamerX, that's GAYMERX, it is going to happen in 2015. GX3 got its funding needed with 999 backers. You gotta love that number. 999 backers making GX3 a reality. We don't know the exact date in 2015, but it'll be happening November, December-ish in 2015. By the way, one of the stretch goals that was passed for GX3 was GX Talks Season 2, which would have been all the panels at the last GamerX that happened. I was fortunate enough to be a part of one of those panels, so look for that coming to YouTube soon at some point whenever that gets out there, and I'll be sure to promote that. By the way, VOG Network going to be a sponsor of GX3 officially. So we're going to have a table at the show. I have no idea what we're doing with it yet, but I have some ideas clicking around in my head. So this is exciting that, we're going to actually be sponsoring a convention next year. This might not be the only one either. So, but GX3 is definitely on our radar for 2015. So that's very exciting. So congrats to all them over there. Monster Hunter 4. I know not a lot of people here in the U.S. get really excited about Monster Hunter 4, but as it is the week of Tokyo Game Show, Capcom's putting out a little more information about Monster Hunter 4, including some collaborations. Taiko Drum Master being one of those random-ass cameos in the game. The little happy-faced Taiko drum showing up on one of the weapons. It's like a hunting horn is what they call it. Sonic the Hedgehog as well. Sonic the Hedgehog armor will be available in the game. That is a creepy fucking Sonic the Hedgehog, by the way, in this little picture. It looks like Sonic the Hedgehog in one of those like really scary real life drawings. I don't know what to think of this, but that is available. But what you also might get a kick out of Animal Crossing content in Monster Hunter 4 Ultimate. You can dress up as Isabelle from Animal Crossing and Mr. Rossetti. So check that out in Monster Hunter 4 Ultimate. I hope they bring some of that out over here. That might get me a little more excited about Monster Hunter. Just saying. That'd be awesome. All right, Flaco, what do you have for us?
It's my turn. Forgive me, I'm reading this on my tiny phone. But we have, Final Fantasy 1 is coming to Nintendo 3DS with 3D support. So let's see, because they're releasing Final Fantasy Explorers in Japan, and the release date is December 18th. It just happens to fall on the anniversary of Final Fantasy 1. So to commemorate this, they're going to the 3DS game will include a download code for the first Final Fantasy game as part of its second print. The first print bonus. The other bonus was Final Fantasy 3's Onion Knight equipment.
I still can't imagine that they won't release this somehow as a standalone. Like, wasn't the Kid Icarus 3D thing supposed to be like a pre-order bonus for the game? But it came out as a standalone.
Yeah,
eventually.
it'll come out. I mean, they've already got it made.
If there's money to be made,
exactly, and
it will be made.
Yeah, so there's that one. Let's see. I gotta switch to the other story.
Well, that can fill in the gap for you not having it on the PC. You can get it on your 3DS. Are you a 3DS owner?
I am not a 3DS owner.
I thought you had one.
Nope.
Huh.
And I'm glad I waited because I think I want the new 3DS.
That's not announced for America yet?
That's not announced for America, but it will be.
No,
just
it
like
will
this,
be. They got to fill those,
always do that, don't
Nintendo
they?
Directs somehow.
I know.
Yeah.
I know. All right.
So let's see. Oh, my next quick story here is Nintendo's disabling images that were able to be posted in the Mario and Luigi community. Now, here's their quote: "Due to unforeseen circumstances, the screenshot feature has been disabled in this community. We're looking into the cause of the problem. We're sorry for any inconvenience caused." So I guess they could actually post real pictures, I'm assuming, from reading this, onto the Mario and Luigi Miiverse community. So, of course...
Who posted their penis on
TTP.
Miiverse? Who posted their penis on Miiverse and ruined it for everybody?
Or did they post a picture of their penis with a tiny little Mario hat on it?
It's a penis.
So, yeah, so that's unfortunate.
I got
Or
your magic
fortunate, that's
mushroom
based
right
on
here,
who you are.
bitch.
Yeah, so that's that.
Only if it made the little sound. Do-do-do-do-do-do.
Okay.
When I first saw this, I thought maybe somebody was putting Mario and Luigi in compromising positions. Like,
Well, that's what I thought, especially from the
That's what I
picture that
thought.
accompanied that article. I'm like, wait, is this what people are doing? No, it's just they could post images to the forum, I guess, and of course they posted things they shouldn't post. Like pictures of Jennifer Lawrence. I don't know.
no, it's
let's see.
Kardashian now. Apparently, over the weekend.
Oh my gosh, I
Kardashians.
missed the news. Is it one of the new girls, one of the younger ones, or is it actually?
I think it's Kim. I can't tell them apart.
Well, who would care about that? She already has a tape out.
Yeah.
Like that's nothing new.
Well, and that whole thing is wrong anyway.
It's wrong. It's bad, and you shouldn't be looking at those pictures.
You shouldn't
Rob.
perpetuate them.
So my next story.
I'm trying to think what was there. It's like it was a movie or something like that. That's terrible. It's Always Sunny. Or like, that's terrible. That's wrong. Like, I should tell that website, take those down. Which website was that again? Because I need to go tell them to remove that. They're shameful.
That's right. I do remember that.
As a reminder, I happen to be a homosexual, and the thing about that whole thing that cracks me up is that you have like all these women nudes that leaked, right? You have like Jennifer Lawrence, all these women nudes leaked, and then Dave Franco. Like, there's one dude.
Don't forget Justin Verlander.
There's one dude in the whole list. It is Dave fucking Franco. Wait, there was a second one?
Well, yeah, but he's a baseball player, so nobody cares.
Yeah.
But yeah. Justin Verlander, he's the one that's dating Kate Upton. So
okay.
That's how they got her pictures. It was actually his phone that got hacked.
How do you know that? Oh,
because I read Deadspin.
Oh,
I'm a sports fan. That's right. I'm a VOG listener who likes sports.
Oh, that's right. You went to the whole video game night with Extifer. That's why he wasn't at Whorehouse.
I was on gamer night at the Giants. That was really fun.
Awesome.
It was a really fun night.
You had a little giveaway, like an Assassin's Creed.
Yeah, Assassin's Creed thing, and then after the second inning, we were able to wait in line and get it signed by Todd McFarlane, who's done all the Spawn stuff, video games, movies, all that. And the funniest part was they make us wait in this line. We're kind of in the way, but that's the only place they told us to put the line in. And all these people walking in is like, all these dumb people standing in line for this guy's autograph is ruining the game. It's like, sorry, that's what we're here for.
All right, anyhow, sorry, didn't mean to derail your story.
That's okay. And I only have one story left, and it's about Koji Igarashi. Is that how you say his name?
Igarashi.
Sorry. I should know this. I worked at Konami. Anyway, he's famous for being a co-director on Symphony of the Night. I'm so bad with names. I probably even met this guy at E3. Anyway, during the Mighty Number 9 panel at PAX, he was talking about how excited he was to work on this new game. That he's like, he calls it his dream game. But now that game is on hold, and he's going to focus his attention his new job working for a mobile developer. Isn't that sad when you hear all these great game developers working for mobile? Or maybe it's good. They're not unemployed.
It could be good because maybe the next, like the reason why I will embrace mobile gaming all of a sudden will come from one of these guys. You know what I mean?
Maybe.
But I still don't think touch gaming is where it's at, and that's the fundamental issue. Is that
when you hear
his
dream project went on hold because he's got to go back to work.
Yeah, that's true.
That's almost like, no, work on your dream. It's obviously his dream project isn't mobile.
I got to go take this job to pay the bills first. Then I'll get back to what I want to do. I understand that.
But yeah, there is one quote. It's kind of an unusual agreement. I have a special carve out that allows me to work with another publishing partner or find other routes to fund my dream game. So it sounds like it's kind of stuck in limbo right now.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, good luck, because I missed Castlevania back when it used to be like super cool. So I guess the new games weren't awful, but it wasn't Symphony of the Night. You know what I mean? It wasn't that. All right. Anyhow, let's get to the Fugle question of the week. That's right. You take Facebook, you take Google, you smash those words together, and you get Fugle.
It's Radio Control.
And every week we ask these communities a question that you guys answer about what's going on in the news, or in this case, maybe something inspired by our guest. So, earlier in the show, we had Mike from Jackbox Games on the show to talk about Fibbage, and you don't know Jack. So our question this week is about game show style video games, and we want to know, what are your thoughts on game show video games? Do you enjoy playing them? What are your favorites? And the most important question, I believe, out of this bunch, what is a game show that you think would make a great video game? So let's see what some of our listeners thought. Let's start on Google Plus with Act Deft, who said, I think trivia games are the best of this type of game, especially when the game can be funny like You Don't Know Jack. They're so good. And I would love to see The Weakest Link done again in video game form. I think there's already a video game based on it. There were several, yes. But I would love to see it done in a 1 versus 100 style, or at least online. Only if they had, what was her name? What was her name? The British lady that did all the insults. Which village is missing the idiot? That whole thing. What was her name?
I don't remember her name.
Ann Robinson.
Oh, wow.
That's it. Ann Robinson. I keep thinking Ann Ramsey, but that's somebody different.
That's Gordon Ramsay.
Somebody completely different.
Totally. You donkey!
Wasn't Ann Ramsey also Mama?
I don't know.
All right, anyway.
When you say Ramsey in British, I just think of Gordon Ramsay.
It's bollocks. Maybe that would be Kitchen Nightmares might make a good video game if you can get Amy's Baking Company somehow involved. I don't know. All right.
Now you're gonna get Grandpa calling
right,
in or
sorry.
something.
Reddertainment says it's not exactly a game show, but I'm surprised there hasn't been a video game based on Survivor. Actually, there have been several Reddertainment, and they were all piss poor games. They right at the height of Survivor popularity, there was one right around the Australian outback, I think.
So
there was one
so
that
they
came back.
pushed out a game in like less than a year.
Yeah, it
probably.
was-
yeah.
yeah, and then there was-
I never even played any of these Survivor games. So I don't doubt it.
There was one on the Wii. Okay, here's the funny thing. I have the Survivor board game. I have 2 copies of it because that's how many of my friends knew I was obsessed with Survivor when it first came out. I got it as a
Was the
gift
board
twice.
game at least good?
It was a little silly. You had these little immunity challenge like questions, and then you voted players out of the game. Ooh, which is basically like, it's just like basically stab your friends in the back. That's all it is. Like, it's just consistently, you could just play vote friends out of the game. Could just be a game. Isn't that kind of the wolf game in a way? A little bit? I don't know.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if they just took some of that stuff.
All right. Let's see. Anyway, Reddertainment continues, though, because I like the thought here. I'm thinking an MMORPG where you play live against other players. It would be great to see differing factions develop, players backstab each other, poorly utilize immunity idols, and other common things that happen on that show. Survivor, outwit, outplay, outlast online. I will tell you this because I've actually participated in these. I used to do this a lot on LiveJournal, which, LOL, how old is that site now? But there are fan-run games where you do get to experience a lot of that, and people get really hardcore crazy about this stuff. I actually was really good at Big Brother online, but on Facebook, you can find like Survivor fan-run games that people run, and they do a lot of the same stuff. So, I mean, it would be nice to see a little more structure to something like that in a game, but it is kind of cool that does exist out there one way or another. All right, let's go to our Facebook page and some of the answers over there. James A. saying, the only one I played continuously was Classic Concentration on the NES. It's still one of my favorite NES games, actually. I had that on the Commodore 64. That was one of my favorite game shows back in the day. Trebek hosted that, didn't
Yeah,
he?
that's like, they stole my answer. Yeah, Trebek, did he always host it or he just originally hosted it?
I think he
always
hosted
it.
the 80s revival. I think there was
Okay.
a version of it like in the 60s. But anyway.
Love that game, and I love that video game too.
As far as today's game show video games go, I can't really say I hate them, just that none of them have interested me. Most of them seem to be in a really odd multiplayer niche where none of my friends really watch the actual show, so they don't want to play the video game version when they come over. But people who do watch the shows, my mom, don't play video games. Hey, my mom played Anticipation with me, just so you know. But since she wouldn't touch the controller, she'd just yell out from her chair, what's being drawn on the screen. Rob, Buzz, it's a sausage, Rob, Rob. Buzz. Dark Tetsuya says, while it wasn't based on a real show, there was a game I'll never forget on the 3DO, Twisted, the game show. The game featured a ton of FMV segments and live actors in wacky costumes and several hilarious fake ads during the commercial breaks. I remember that game. I do remember that game. That was one of the reasons I wanted a 3DO.
I think I played that.
Yeah, right? So we knew that one kid in the block that had a 3DO.
Yeah, there was, as a friend of mine that had that. We played, I think, was Jack on there? I don't remember. There was some party game we played that was like that.
On the 3DO? I don't think.
No, maybe it wasn't Jack. There was something, though. Maybe it was Twisted. I don't know. And then
Twisted.
we played Road Rash. I just remember Road Rash because that was the shit.
Degenerate Johnny says, I've always liked video games based on game shows such as Family Feud and Wheel of Fortune. However, I would have loved to play a game that placed player characters in danger, like the game show featured in Stay Tuned, starring John Ritter. I remember that movie. That was the first movie I ever saw in the theater on opening day, was Stay Tuned. Believe it.
Really?
John Ritter and Pam Dauber, right? With the Salt and Pepper
Yeah,
cameo.
I can't remember the movie, but
The movie
that's your
was
first?
it was the first movie I saw in the theater on
Wow.
opening day. On opening day. I know, right? Because here's the thing. In Roseville at the time, where I grew up, Roseville, California, it was a much smaller town. If we wanted to go to the movie theater and see new movies, we had to drive all the way to the next town over.
Oh, wow.
All we had in our town was a dollar theater that's now a Radio Shack. I'll give you an idea how big that place was. Okay, it was a dollar theater. But the dollar theater was all the second run movies. So that's why it took me so long to see something. Get it?
We just had a little 2-screen theater in our hometown,
Yeah.
or my hometown, and it was it really would just play the same movies all summer. Like, Batman came out. Have fun watching Batman all summer.
All
They're not
summer
going to change
long.
the movie out.
All right, Peter Uno says, much like Rob, I used to love all the game shows on Berserk. You Don't Know Jack, Acrophobia, Cosmic Consensus, and of course more recent ones like 1 vs. 100. This one especially worked really well with hundreds of players all online at the same time. SSG100 Matt says, I'm a huge fan of the game show games. Back when I was hosting gaming parties, You Don't Know Jack and even the Xbox 360 versions of the Scenic games with the Buzz controller adaptions all went over well. My dream game show would be, of course, the Match Game with a digital version of Charles Nelson Riley. Yes! Fifth Dream, last but not least, says, I like to play some game show style games, though many of them are poorly done. Despite that, I rented the crap out of some Super Nintendo Jeopardy games back in the day so I could prove to myself that I really could be a contender on the show. All right, going around the room here real quick, your favorite game show-esque game and what needs to be the next one? Flaco?
I'll just say, everybody's been taking all the great answers. I'll just say You Don't Know Jack movies. I like that they did special editions of like very focused editions back in the day. It's almost a question I wish I could ask them again, but they probably aren't going to go that way again. But yeah, like You Don't Know Jack movies I like because it was a theme game.
Well, it would be cool. They could do DLC maybe. I mean, I don't know how much money it cost him. I mean, he gave a very realistic answer about
about
budget
using,
and all that.
Yeah.
So I would think if there's money to be made, maybe like DLC could go.
Yeah,
that way.
and I
Who
think
knows?
that's happened kind of in the. On the app, like the app and the mobile and the Facebook version now, they kind of have themes and stuff like that. So around Super Bowl Sunday, they had like a whole week of like sports stuff.
Oh, there you go.
That was pretty cool. And let's see. So what are the other parts of the question?
What game show do you want to see as?
Okay. Yeah, I got one that no one else will pick. Baggage with Jerry Springer. I want that one. I want to try to guess what their baggage is, and then they come up to you and like, yes, I'm a pickpocket, but I still want you to go on a date with me. Or whatever. A pickpocket is like not someone's biggest baggage. Is anyone else
is such trash. Yes, I've seen baggage.
Yay, someone else has seen baggage.
I've seen it. It's trashy as hell.
It's so trashy. I love that show.
Loki. I don't know. You don't strike me. Well, you did the Twisted and stuff. What was a favorite of yours growing up?
Favorite like game
show.
Oh, game show. God.
Or game-esque. Even though You Don't Know Jack was technically not based on a game show, I still consider it one. You know what I mean?
I don't know.
It became one.
I didn't watch a whole lot of game. I mean, just the traditional ones like Wheel of Fortune, Jeopardy, that kind of stuff. But Double Dare.
They did have an NES Double Dare. Yeah.
I mean, so that was kind of fun. I don't know. I didn't really play a whole ton of those. I think I just played a lot of the like Wheel of Fortune and stuff, on PC, like the old Wheel of Fortune games and stuff.
All right.
I never had like Anticipation or anything like that.
All right. And lastly, my answer would be my favorite ones growing up. I played a lot of different ones on the Commodore 64, and my very favorite, another listener already took it, but Classic Concentration was absolutely my favorite. Like trying to solve those puzzles was a lot of fun. But I had like Family Feud and Jeopardy, Wheel of Fortune, which I can't believe nobody said that one, but Wheel of Fortune.
Yeah.
I had all that stuff on Commodore 64. That was always a lot of fun. Now, the game show that I believe needs to be a game, I've said this time and time again on the show, RuPaul's Drag Race would make an excellent video game. All right, I guess that's more of a reality show than a game show.
It's a reality competition show.
All right.
So if Survivor works, so does that.
All right, I've got another answer. I can't believe none of y'all said this. Because everybody would play Supermarket Sweep.
Oh, that is a good one.
Supermarket Sweep. Come on, you could run around. It could be like a first-person shooter, but it's just a giant cart. And then like you get to the ham, and it's like, press A to ham. Ham. Just stack your cart. What? Loki, say it in the mic. What?
I said that's the only thing Kinect could work for is just like grabbing stuff off the shelf.
Just flail to grab things off the shelves. I like the Price is Right game. That had like some supermarket buying stuff in it too. But in that game, you can memorize all the prices eventually.
Oh yes.
But you know what's the best part of that game is when you unlock Plinko, you can play Plinko whenever you want. And
there you go.
That's the only reason to buy that game.
That's the reason right there. There it is. All right. Thank you guys for answering our Fugo question of the week. Let's get into some more gaming news. Loki.
All right. So this is kind of good news. They claim this wasn't the cause of the Xbox hacks a while back. Remember people stealing other people's accounts and trying to charge up money and buying stuff, for the FIFA Ultimate Team, including in-game items, and coins, and stuff like that. Well, now I guess FIFA 15, the Ultimate Team mode, they are removing the ability to use trade offers, because that was the way when people were stealing accounts that they were offloading stuff to other accounts, I guess. So this hopefully will at least de-incentivize people from stealing other people's accounts for FIFA 15 things or FIFA Ultimate Team things.
It's about freaking time they do something to de-incentivize that
Well,
whole
how many
thing.
years ago was that happened? I mean, are they really waiting this long? I don't know. It just seems kind of stupid. But I'm glad they're doing something. I don't know.
All right. I don't know a whole lot about. I mean, I don't really play FIFA online, so it's hard for me to speak a little more about oh, well, they should be doing this or this. I just kind of know that my account information was hacked, and that's exactly what they used it for, was all that stupid FIFA crap. So I'm glad they're putting some deterrence in there.
That's good.
About 8 years after the fact, right?
Yes.
All right. Anyhow, let's move on to a story about Project Scissors, and I'm not talking about Scissor Sisters. I'm talking about Project Scissors. When you think of scissors in gaming, perhaps you think about Clock Tower, which, speaking of scary games, did you ever play Clock Tower?
I did.
Flaco?
I like that game.
That is a scary-ass game.
When you look in a mirror and then the hands reach out and grab you, and gosh.
Right. So anyway, Hifume Kuno, who is the creator of Clock Tower, and his studio, Nude Maker, which Nude Maker is the name of the studio, which, okay, maybe we are talking about scissoring in a different sense. But anyway, they have announced that they will be developing a horror franchise for Vita, iOS, Android, and it is a spiritual successor to Clock Tower. It is called Project Scissors. That may not be the final name. This game will be on a luxury cruise liner in the middle of the ocean, so you're stuck on it. And when the ship sails, a series of gruesome and mysterious murders begin to take place, including to the ship's crew, and the ship is soon basically sitting there at sea, and you've got nowhere else to go. So as a passenger trapped on the ship, the player will be tasked with solving the murder mystery to ensure your survival and the innocent passengers. By the way, because we talked earlier about creature designs in Silent Hill, well, Masahiro Ito, who did the creature designs for the Silent Hill series, he's working on this too as a prop designer. And Takashi Shimizu, who directed Ju-On, which we know as The Grudge here, he is a creative producer and directing a live-action teaser trailer for the game. You will not be sleeping that night, it sounds like. That's already that premise right there. You are stuck on a boat at sea. That's a pretty clever premise for a horror thing. I'm surprised it hasn't been done. Maybe it has been done, but I haven't heard of it.
I'm just glad. It sounds like survival horror is really making a comeback, or at least horror games in general. Mm-hmm. So I hope that's the case. It seems like the genre was kind of dying off for a while there.
Now, the only weird thing about this is that it's Vita, iOS, and Android. There's nothing in there about the modern consoles. So this is more of and Vita is essentially, if they're putting it, it's probably an extension of the mobile development. So again, that means it's only touch controls. So who knows what that could all involve? It doesn't sound like it's going to be very actiony, but again, who knows? I don't know.
I hope it works like the Walking Dead games from Telltale. If it works like those, then those are great, because those games have some good scares in them too.
That's a good point.
So I hope it's that quality.
Yeah. Well, we'll see when more information comes out about Project Scissors, which may or may not be the final name. Flaco, you got something for us?
The White House hosted a game jam focused on education. So let's see. There were 100 developers there, and it was sponsored by the White House, specifically focused on education. And there were also science and technology advisors from the Obama administration. They hosted it, and the attendees included Far Cry 4 contributing developer Red Storm Entertainment, Angry Birds developer Rovio, and Glass Lab, a collaborative effort which includes members from the Entertainment Software Association and EA. So let's see. It says they retain all rights to the concepts they cooked up during the jam, and while there doesn't seem to be an official gallery, there's plenty of photos and stuff on the for White House Game Jam hashtag on Twitter. So I guess search that hashtag on Twitter, and you can see some photos and stuff from that.
That's pretty neat, though, when you hear that, the White House is having a video game jam. That's kind of, it's all about educational games, but, think about all the educational games that, sort of we grew up on, like Number Munchers and Oregon Trail. Like, there can be some pretty cool educational games, believe it or not. Carmen Sandiego, right?
Or did you ever play Odell Lake?
I know of Odell Lake because that was by the Minnesota.
I don't remember. I just know
the same company that made all the Oregon Trail.
Again, like I said, I got all my games growing up hand-me-downs from my uncles. So this game was on. I think I was Commodore 64, and you get to play as a fish, and you had to know swim. Like what kind of fish will eat you, and what fish you can eat, or what to avoid the hooks, swim shallow. There was crazy little, and I hope they came up with some interesting, games there.
There was a game from that same group. I remember this one. Nobody else has heard of this, called Rocky's Boots. Did you ever?
No, I don't remember that one.
It taught basic computer programming.
That's awesome.
It was like logic. I remember you would set up logic gates and if, then, and ors and all this stuff, and it was like, it was pretty heavy duty stuff for a kid. But if you were like a big nerd kid like me, like Rocky's Boots was awesome because you got to learn a bit about programming. So hopefully the next generation of that may be somewhere here at this Game Jam.
Yeah, and Game Jams turn out some pretty cool ideas, and like I think Bobby just mentioned it. He covered that one for his show, the CDC one,
right?
And there were some really cool ideas in that. So I would hope that there'd be some cool ideas come out of this White House one too.
Right, and we talked earlier about GamerX being funded, and they're talking about doing a jam as well, which could present some very diverse ideas. Like I thought, some of the games I saw at last year's GamerX, things like Triad, which is based around the concept of being in a three-way relationship. It was a puzzle game. Definitely not something you hear about every day as an idea for a game. So, very diverse types of ideas. So,
yeah, I think you can get those out of the box ideas at a Game Jam. It's pretty awesome.
Yeah, very cool. All right, let's move on, Loki.
All right, and so they've. And I'm surprised that they have yet another dev kit coming out, but Oculus has a new dev kit coming out called Crescent Bay. I believe this is going to be the final dev kit that they have before the retail version comes out. But some improvements of it, it's got a higher resolution, higher refresh rate, 360-degree tracking, because it has LEDs on its back, and removable integrated audio. So that's pretty cool. And I don't know, is this available for pre-order? That's all I really want to know. Looks pretty cool.
Bobby is in chat in all caps. Wrong, it's not a dev kit. Wrong. Wah, wah. Red light. Would you screw up, Loki?
I don't know. I thought it was a dev kit. Is this the final thing? Is this what we're getting? Fine. It's a prototype, whatever you want to call it. Prototype. I think it's going to be a dev kit, but it's a prototype.
I can see where people are kind of getting that idea, but also at the same time why it's not officially considered one, because there was, very much those baseline kits that came out, and this is something different than that. But
all right, fine. Well, if they start selling it as a dev kit in a couple months from now, then I told you so. But until then, you win this one, Bobby.
All right. I was teasing we'd talk about this, so we'll move on to this since Loki's clearly misinformed on the Oculus bit. Here's the thing. I might be misinformed on this too, because this isn't something I super followed, but it's about something interesting that's happening in Marin, California. Let me tell you about Marin County, California. All the people you saw in the box art of anticipation probably came from Marin, California, which is, let's just say it's home to a very affluent, it's north of San Francisco. It's the cities like San Rafael's there, right? Yeah. And, the
Sausalito. Everyone's house is like on a cliff overlooking the ocean.
Overlooking the beach, and it's very, I
used to deliver TVs up there. I actually tore up someone's private elevator by accident.
Uh-oh. How many brunches did you interrupt? Going over there to Marin County. Well, in Marin County, the district attorney held a buyback day for residents' toy guns and violent video games. And this was to highlight issues of domestic violence in October's Domestic Violence Awareness Month. Working with the Center for Domestic Peace and Ben & Jerry's Ice Cream for the event. The event is coming up. It's going to be October 4th at Novato. That's another city in Marin.
That's another one.
Police headquarters. If you participate, you get ice cream.
Novato, you're kind of getting out of the swanky part at that point, though.
Yeah, that's true.
You're getting close to Sonoma County.
The district attorney said in a written message, quote, "As we know, domestic violence incidents almost always have children present, and these children develop over time imprinted images of the family violence. These children then carry those experiences into their adult lives and often repeat the pattern of violence in their own family units. So why get rid of all the guns and violent video games? Because, quote, it's a chance to change today's modeling patterns." Okay. There was previously a program that would buy back real guns and 857 weapons that paid out more than $100,000. So there you go. Again, violent video games, I'm not trying to belittle what is a very real subject here of domestic violence and all this other stuff, but at the same time, I'm not sure where violent video game. I mean, I
Don't
okay.
buy your kids violent video games.
Well,
And
at least you
seriously-
got it. Oh, sorry.
Oh, go ahead. I was going to say, seriously, though, how much ice cream am I getting for a violent video game tournament? Because that doesn't seem like a very... Like, if I'm getting a free double scoop for, turning Grand Theft Auto 5, that's not a very good ratio
maybe
there.
a pint, and it's like,
Oh, come on. That's...
GameStop will give you a better trade.
Exactly.
Not
Well,
that
you
I
gotta
ever
like that at least they're not putting them on the same level. Guns, they give you money. Video games, they give you ice cream. So, see, that's not that bad.
But here's what I want to know: what are they going to do with all the games they collect?
You have to take them to games.
eBay.
And the cycle continues.
They're going to take them down to Oakland and sell them.
Oh my gosh.
To take them to another county and let it be their problem. Come
Take it
on.
to Sonoma County.
Come on. Well, here's the thing. If I don't want them to throw them away, so Novato, if anybody from Novato is out there listening, we volunteer to take all your violent video
Yeah.
games. I would be, hey, I'm like, yay, free. There's no kids here. You don't have to worry about any of that stuff. I will happily play all of your violent video games.
30 years from now, we're going to be digging up that landfill in Nevada. We're like, look at all these games.
Microsoft will pay a lot of money to make a documentary
Yes.
about digging up the violent video games that were thrown away for ice cream.
The Novato landfill.
Oh, my gosh. All right. Demix in our chat room at live.vognetwork.com says, so if I kill and eat someone, can I blame Shakespeare? Apparently. Can I trade in copies of Shakespeare plays for like a milkshake? I mean, I don't know. I'll take McDonald's. All right, Bobby Blackwolf in our chat room over at live.vognetwork.com trying to give some insight to the story that Loki was talking about earlier, saying it's a prototype that's going to lead to a future version. Crystal Cove was demoed at CES. It was never released. It led to the DK2. So Oculus regularly releases prototypes of hardware that they are building internally. There were two that were built between the DK1 and DK2, the HD prototype and Crystal Cove. Crescent Bay is the first iteration of what's between DK2 and whatever's next, either the third dev kit or the consumer version. There will most likely be another new prototype at CES. So there you go. This is a little stepping stone to whatever's next, the official prototype.
So it could lead to a dev kit.
It could, possibly. Who knows? I'm hoping they're getting closer to the real
Well,
thing.
they are.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, if it's coming out, assuming that they're going to stick to the summer, time frame, that's, about a year away.
All right.
9 months away.
All right. Anyhow, let's see. Back to the mailbag. That's right. This is the time of the show where we're going to open up the mailbag. Participate at orangeloungeradio.com is the place to send us an email. And every week we dive into the mailbag and read some things that you have submitted to us. However, in the mailbag this week, nothing. That's right. We have no emails this week. Stop the music. You guys have failed to participate with our show this week. What is up with that? We were getting a lot of emails in the previous
Jamie
week.
scared everyone away with her grammar.
I
You
guess.
should have
attack
just
last
kept the
week.
threat. You
Well,
should
guess
have
what? Some weeks it's going to be me, and I don't care. They can't look any worse than my text
you
messages.
should have just kept the rolling thread of, playing more Kim Kardashian music.
I should have. Damn.
Yeah, that would be a great idea because then when the break rolls around, you'll know what's happened.
That's
it's like,
true.
uh-oh. It's like the canary in the coal mine. Kardashian music is playing. No, send an email fast.
All right. So again, if you want to participate with a future episode of our show, participate at orangeloungeradio.com. Perhaps you would like to send a complete dissertation about Loki's lack of knowledge on Oculus development.
To be fair, I was a little distracted because once it was mentioned that nudes leaked out, I had to go find them.
Loki! On my internet? On my internet?
Yes,
I don't want the po-po coming over here.
The authorities are going to come after you. It's on you now.
I'm going to be
Careful who you let into your house.
there is a gay couple that lives here. We do not care about Kardashian nudity.
So which Kardashian?
I didn't care about Kardashian either. No, seriously, I didn't.
But which one is it?
It's Kim. It's
Okay,
just
again, she has a sex tape.
It's
Who
seriously,
cares?
and it's shit with Ray J. It's the fucking shit you already saw
Did
in
they
the
just
sex
screen
tape.
cap the sex tape and then
Shame, shame, shame.
You have Avril Lavigne on there. I mean,
what?
Who cares?
I don't care.
That's crazy.
Anyhow.
I just had to see. I was curious.
Any dudes?
Yeah.
Who?
I don't know. People.
Avril Lavigne's nameless boyfriend.
Zachary Quinto? Maybe?
No. I would let you know. I'd be like, dude, hold on. Stop the music.
And Rob's like, I'm suddenly contributing to this problem.
I'd be like, this is so wrong. This is a very wrong thing you guys are doing. I just have to see how wrong this is.
Exactly.
This is 7 inches of wrong right here. All right. Let's move on to the FUs of the week because every week, especially those when we don't get emails, we get a little bit angsty, and we let y'all know about it.
Oh, this is bad. Here is justice. Here is punishment. This is fucked up.
I just want to point out, Avril Lavigne's boyfriend is the dude from Nickelback.
Wait,
if
the
there's
main dude from Nickelback?
Yes, she married the guy from Nickelback. So if that leaked, like all kinds of no. There isn't enough nope in the house. for
Look
that.
at this leaked photograph. Sorry. That's my singing.
Ladies and gentlemen, Flaco's last episode because he'll never be invited back, just so you know. Let's go to the FUs of the week. Loki.
All right, so I guess FU to the complicated method is Medi-Cal because signing up for government anything is just a pain in the ass. It's like hoop after hoop after hoop. Hopefully almost done though. That's it.
Let me know if you have any issues.
All right.
All right. Let's see. Flaco.
FU to David 19 on Marvel Puzzle Quest. You're like 2 points behind me. I could tell you're about to pass me. So, thanks a lot. I'll
You're
never get number one in one of these
You're
tournaments.
number one in a tournament?
Right now, but there's like an
Wow.
hour or something left. Everyone plays in the last hour. I'm gonna get crushed.
Oh,
but
jeez.
it's cool. I didn't even care to be top in here, but I did so well.
My FU goes to my back because it's been killing me all day because as my roommate likes to joke, we have Jumanji going on in the backyard, and I finally decided to tackle that beast this week and been making progress on killing Jumanji back there, and I like hurt my back so bad and my arm. Like, that was a workout.
That's not Jumanji. My backyard is fucking Jumanji.
Well, it isn't now. I took care of.
Well,
some
there's
of the worst
literally
of
like
it.
a vine growing. Like it was growing from one side of the yard over my patio to the other side, and all I did was like, I'm gonna turn that vine around, and now it's going back to the other side of the yard again. But it's a stupid fucking. I don't even know what it is. I have a picture of it because I took a picture of the whatever plant it is. I can't fucking kill this thing. I gotta nuke it now. I think it's seriously. I'm gonna have to go, nuclear on this thing and just destroy everything in that lawn. Because I can't kill this vine. It just keeps coming back.
I'm just
a
telling
napalm.
you, bless whoever invented weed whackers, because those that you can clean up a yard real quick with one of those, but you'll also throw out your back.
Yeah. Those things are awesome though. I had a push mower. You want to talk about back pain? Like, use a manual
no.
push mower. It's like, I'm going to be good for the environment. I'm going to buy a push mower. Like,
No.
Oh my gosh, I want to die. Screw Mother Earth. F you.
All right, there it is, your FUs of the week. In lieu of your lack of emails. people. All right, just a couple more stories, and then we're going to open up the Skype line. Hopefully, we'll get a little more participation there at 1-877-GAME-OLR, or our username on Skype, Orange Lounge Radio. Let's do a couple more stories here. Loki.
Well, if you're living in China and you wanted to get an Xbox One, well, you're going to have to wait a little longer. Unfortunately, it was supposed to come...
For our large Chinese audience, you never know. You know
never
what?
know.
To be honest...
Do we have any listeners in China? I'd like to know.
I don't know, but to be honest, I mean, they haven't had game consoles for a long time because they were, kind of banned. So now this being released in China is kind of hopefully a bigger thing than it was in Japan. I mean, because it's not so big in Japan, but it's cool that it's being released in other parts of the world. So props to them. But unfortunately, it is not coming out on Tuesday like it was supposed to be, but sometime before the end of the year, they're saying.
Can't they just redirect some of the consoles that didn't sell in Japan? Can't they just kind of...
I don't know.
One?
Possibly. I mean, but they were saying, this would be the first foreign video game device officially sold on Chinese soil in 14 years.
Wow.
So, it's kind of...
No, it's officially sold.
Yes, officially. Yeah, I'm sure you could buy it elsewhere and import
Was it China where we got the V... Like the VII, that was the Chinese system.
They had a ton of those TV plug-and-play devices. That was kind of the workaround.
Oh, yeah.
So,
well, if you are in China and listening to this show, then I want to know about it because I just assumed we were firewalled over there. So if you can hear us in China, let us know. That'll be awesome. So, all right. Anyhow, one more story for you guys. Speaking of culture, I can't think of any place more cultured than Texas. Okay, maybe I can. But here's, all joking aside, this is pretty neat. The Video Game History Museum going to be having a static home, and that home will be in Frisco, Texas, not to be confused with San Francisco, where a lot of game companies actually are. Frisco, Texas has approved a deal that will grant the nonprofit museum a 10,400 square foot space in the Frisco Discovery Center. When you run the words Frisco and space together, you get face. So there you go. In April, they're expecting the National Video Game Museum 1.0 should be ready for business. $800,000 for building improvements that Frisco's going to spend on this and extra parking. $100,000 in donations. The museum matched it with raised funds. This is, all joking aside about the location, that's pretty cool that there will be like a space like that. We have a pinball museum in the Bay Area, and I still have yet to go. I really need to go.
It's in Alameda, yeah.
It's in Alameda.
I think it's in Alameda.
So, I got to go check that out. But yeah, there's going to be a video game museum in Texas. I doubt this is the same thing, but I know they were talking about doing one in Iowa, like where Twin Galaxies was born. They were going to do one there. Remember where all the 80s contests and there was like a Time magazine shoot out there years ago, and it's like an hour away from the nearest airport.
I think my old boss was in that Time magazine
Really?
shoot. Yes.
Really?
Yeah, he used to hold the record for pole position.
That's
he
awesome.
Played it with his feet or something. I don't get why people do these things.
Why not?
I just know that.
Why not? So there you go. That's going to be in Frisco, Texas. Now, I don't know. Maybe Texas is a big place. How far is this from Travis Donovan? Is this because maybe he can go do a report on this?
I don't know where
We'll
Frisco,
see.
Texas is, but I know like the number one rule about San Francisco and its nicknames is you don't call it Frisco. I know that from living in the city for a while.
Or San Fran. You call it San Fran?
Anything but Frisco, I think.
Anything but Frisco. Or maybe this is why. They don't want to be confused with the Video Game Museum, maybe. All right. There you go. That is it for our news tonight. We're going to open up the Skype line now. 1-877-GAME-OLR or username on Skype, Orange Lounge Radio. Here's your chance to have a say on anything we've talked about tonight. You want to reminisce on game show games with us? That's fine. You want to talk about Minecraft or anything we've talked about? Now's a great time to do that. Let me go over to Loki real quick and see if he has any last-minute stories while I pull up Twitter.
I did, actually. I had a story regarding the Retron 5. Apparently, people have been digging into the code of it, and they found out, guess what? It's stealing a bunch of code from other emulators. They literally just stole literal code from different emulators out there to build it in there. And unfortunately, those, the other emulators that were out there were releasing their GPL viral license, but
I don't know what to think because it's really not cool that they stole somebody's code, but at the same time, what were emulators kind of built to do?
They're not built to steal code, they're built to emulate consoles.
All right, I know, but
So
I'm just saying, there's and that may not be the popular thing for me to say. I'm sorry, but I see a little sliver of irony in this, just a little sliver. But is somebody taking that code and selling it for money isn't cool. And
then they were also trying
to
to change parts of it to hide the fact that they stole it. But they did some comparisons and it's pretty much the exact same.
I'm gonna keep it real though. I still kind of want one.
I hear they're really shoddy.
Are they?
Yeah.
That's too bad. Maybe I'll wait for somebody to perfect the technology a little bit. But anyway, we got a call coming in, so let's get to it. Hi, you're on Orange Lounge Radio. Who's this?
The one and only Ranma.
Hey, Rama, how are you doing, buddy?
I'm doing pretty good. I'm stuffed from all the seafood and ribs and barbecue I ate over the weekend.
Hey, did you hear my discussion on Brazilian meat
Rob,
cuisine? What?
I want you to know, not even 5 to 10 minutes from my job, there are at least 2 to 3 blocks full of churrasco places.
Oh, delicioso.
You know what makes it even much more delicious?
Huh.
When the company picks up the tab.
Oh, indeed. I'm just going to add that to my list of reasons to come back east. I'm overdue.
Well, there you go.
So what's on your mind tonight, buddy?
Let me tell you about Anticipation. This was a game I used to play the living hell out of as a kid. I mean, it got to the point where I could play it on very hard and solve every single one of the puzzles. Can't do it now, but back then I could do it within 2 dice roll. I knew exactly what it was.
You would be surprised what you'll remember from your youth. Go watch one of these long plays on YouTube like we were doing in studio, and as the thing starts drawing, you'll remember. You'll just be like, oh, it's this. Like sausage. Mm-hmm. Rama, how did I know that? Because I remembered it from when I was a kid.
Rob, the fact that you know that it was sausage, really?
Shut up.
Heart.
Anyway. Anticipation was a lot of fun. But that's the only thing is that you didn't have things like DLC expansion packs and additional questions and things like that on cartridges. So once you had them all memorized, the game was kind of done, right?
Yeah, it's sort of like the old Pressure Luck because it was the same patterns over and over, and once you knew what it was, that was it.
Yeah. But then again, you could say that about a lot of video games. Once you know the pattern, you can beat it no problem, and the challenge is gone, right?
Mm-hmm. So, See, Anticipation is a game I would like to see updated, and not for nothing. That would probably be a convincing reason for me to get a Wii U.
Oh, look at that. Even so far to say the Wii U. Now, here's the most important question I'm going to ask you about your Anticipation addiction, Rama. Is it the trumpet, the heels, the ice cream, or the teddy bear?
Trumpet.
Oh, you're a trumpet fan. I can see that.
Yes.
All right.
and what's interesting when you talk about the game shows is that I just remember one thing is I have a friend who goes to a lot of anime and other conventions, and he runs game shows. And he takes Classic Concentration, Scrabble, Match Game, and he writes his own code, and he just makes it themed for whatever the convention is. And this is something that's pretty cool, and it's quite popular at most conventions.
Yeah, there was a guy at All Games back when, and I don't know if he still does this, but he did that at Penny Arcade Expo, a video game related thing. And Bobby probably knows more on that than I do because I never actually saw it happen. But I know it exists in some form on the video game circuit as well. But I know on the anime where there are more conventions to do that kind of stuff, you see it a little more.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And one more thing before I get out of here.
Of
now.
Course.
One year, I actually hosted a game show, and I did Match Game. And what's cool about the conventions is they will always be 2 versions. You have the one for all audiences, daytime, and then you have the 18-plus stuff, which is pretty much anything goes.
Nice.
I have it filmed. I have the footage somewhere, but it got really raunchy. I mean, almost offensive. Let's just say to the point I was banned from hosting any game shows for 2 years. But what was funny is there were staffers in the room who were loving every single minute of it.
It was my dream when I was in the 4th grade to be a game show host. When they asked, what do you want to do when you grow up? I said, I want to be a game show host. I want to be like Bob Barker. I have this instead. But, you have me thinking when you're talking about all this stuff on the anime convention circuit, I could propose a panel for GamerX.
Well, yeah, I mean, why not? Code up a fun game and go for it. I mean, and you could get away with doing Match Game because that's just That's just asking for it right there. If you do match game,
I think that would be a lot of fun to do a match game live like that or something. So
match game or dating game, those two are really popular.
All right. Well, my friend, do you have anything else on your mind tonight before we let you go?
I hate the fact I have to work from 8 to 5 now.
Aw.
That means I have to get up at 6.
You have a normal person's hours job.
I've always had a normal person's hours job. My schedule used to be 9 to 6, but now that the tech department is down 2 people, someone has to come in and do the early shift.
Oh. Yeah.
That means more coffee.
All right. Well, I'm going to let you go, buddy. Good luck with the new shift.
Thanks a lot, bro.
All right. See you later.
Later.
You could be Dark Soccer. But another part of the reason she isn't here tonight, even if she was here, she's only going to be able to be here for the first half because she's got a lot of stuff going on at work, I guess. And so in the morning, she has to be there early for some type of overtime thing. So she's probably in bed by now, even if she was listening. So I'm sure she can feel your pain there, Rama, a little bit. Anyway, if you have a call or some thoughts, 1-877-GAME-OLR or our username on Skype, Orange Lounge Radio. Dark Tetsuya in chat says, Rob, match game where you do your Charles Nelson Riley voice. I'll think about it. Now you've got my gears turning, and I'm like, this might actually be a heck of a lot of fun to do something like that, like a match game type of panel. That would be a lot of fun. All right. Let's see. While we wait for some calls, any other last-minute stories, Logie?
Yes, there were some details about the new features in Grand Theft Auto 5 and online for PlayStation 4 and Xbox One PC that leaked out actually from Rockstar Games, and then they immediately deleted the page that it was on. But, of course, the internet takes photos. So, some of the features that they're going to be adding to the game, brand new first-person mode for vehicles that show in the interior of vehicles, including working speedometers, tachometers, dash lights, and more. Brand new first-person mode while on foot. New Easter eggs in story mode. New animals roaming Los Santos. Animals in Grand Theft Auto Online. And then, of course, a newly overhauled character selection screen. You can transfer your stuff from the current gen to the next gen, or last gen to current gen, I guess.
I know.
The PC
When
way.
do we officially stop saying next gen? It's current gen now. I don't know. When do we stop?
I think
Mike got
already.
He called it current gen.
All right. 1-877-GAME-OLR or username on Skype, Orange Lounge Radio. Just a few tweets tonight. Dark Tetsuya sending us some tweets saying, had to plug this Kickstarter for an epic game room bar here in town, Save Point Tavern. Imagine a bar restaurant with almost any game you can imagine, like video games, classic new RPG, CCC board games, along with food and drinks. And yes, classic arcades too. So I'm looking at this Kickstarter. Hey, they made it. So I guess this is something that's going to happen. But yeah, they're going to make a tabletop and gaming bar in Sacramento. I will have to read more about this because I'm curious. I would like to know what is the other, because I worry this is a great idea, but sometimes making things happen is a little harder to actually do.
That didn't seem like a lot of money.
Exactly. That's what I'm thinking. I'm like, that didn't seem like a lot of money.
So good.
So I don't know. I wonder what kind of space they're talking about there. Well, now they're talking about stretch goals. For their stretch goal number 1, $28,000, a 100-inch projection screen with surround. How much? Aren't those a couple $1,000s by themselves? I don't know.
I get. Well, that's up from their, what is it? 23 is their starting goal. So I guess $5,000 more.
Well, good luck. This is going to be a heck of an undertaking for you guys. So
speaking of local stuff, a new game store just opened up in my neck of the woods.
Oh yeah,
it's an independent game store, and they have any of their used games you can pop in and play. They have some consoles right there you can play in one of these easy chairs with the speakers built in, and so you can. But you have to pay per the time you play. I already figured what the prices were. We got to pay for half hour, or 2 hour increments or something like that.
They wouldn't want people to loiter there all day playing their games.
Yeah, obviously they're going to charge for that, but it seemed like a nice little place.
That was like that. What was it? That gaming place that we went to the first time at E3 or whatever. Was that the first E3? I think it was the first E3. Remember, with all games and stuff.
The place I was talking about? The place from the article.
Oh, you're talking about the Arena Lounge or whatever that was.
Yeah, the Arena Lounge.
Yeah,
it sounds very much like the Arena Lounge because they had their custom chairs with speakers built in.
Yeah.
Time and stuff like that.
It's mostly it's a game store, but then they're you can bring your own games in. You can play them right here if you wanted to, or if anything that we have used, you can pay to check it out first before we sell it. So I just went. I had to go in and check it out.
Yeah.
It's interesting to see something that's not GameStop, opening
Like
up.
an indie
And like,
store.
how do these places stay alive when you hear that GameStop's such a behemoth?
Yeah.
But there's another one down a little bit further away in my neighborhood as well, and it's been open for a while. I forget what it's
I
called.
think there's some people that when they get really turned off, they're like, I'm never going to shop here again. They mean it, and they want to go somewhere else. So
they had good deals. They run they run like monthly specials. They had Infamous Second Son for like $30, and which was cheaper than you can get it on Amazon. So I was like, hey, good for them if they're going to do specials like that on new games.
All right. I'm going to put out one more call for phone calls. 1-877-GAME-OLR, or username on Skype, Orange Lounge Radio. I don't know what's in the air this week. We didn't get email. Like some weeks we get flooded with emails and calls and can't get them all. And tonight it's like, no, we'll let you.
Is there something on TV or something?
Yeah, is there something on TV tonight?
There's
Show
football started.
Oh, did fall TV's coming back this next week, right?
I think some shows have already started.
I think some started and some are and then you got like Survivor starts next week
on Wednesday.
And Big Brother's finishing up
on Wednesday.
Thank God Frankie didn't win, right?
Yay! I was so happy.
See, at least I know you like all those trashy reality shows.
I love them.
Yeah.
I don't watch as many as I used to. I've kind of
Me
narrowed
neither.
it down to the ones I used to watch. I just keep watching them. I just can't grab anything new now.
Yeah.
I mean, I did watch Whodunit last year. That was great.
Whodunit was great.
I love that show.
I thought Whodunit was better than The Quest. I knew a lot of people were getting really excited about The Quest on ABC.
Yeah, I didn't
which
watch that
was
either.
It was silly, but it was neat how they had it set up like a show that was like a medieval thing that
Kinda
actually
like a
had
LARP,
the storyline, huh?
Was it like a LARP?
Sort of,
like
but
competitive.
I sort of
reality
felt
show?
like the story only existed in the very beginning and the very end of the show to tie the silly challenges in each show together.
Okay.
And they still had that whole like voting thing that would happen at the end of the episode that kind of that's the drama right there and didn't really
I do
need a
watch King of the
story.
Nerds as well, so there we go. I guess I do still watch everything. I don't know. But that show got a third season, so I'm
King of the
excited.
Nerds, though, a member of the OL Army was on King of the Nerds this
I know
last
that.
season. Yeah, Nicole.
Yeah.
If you guys don't know,
She was great on this season. She was a big threat because she was kind of one of those people that had knowledge of multiple different things, and so they took her out when they had a chance. But spoilers.
We had
for
her
a show from
on
last year.
when she was on the Tester.
Yeah, I remember that.
So
I never watched the Tester, but I remember when she was on, and then I'd watched the first season of King of the Nerds, and then when she was on your show, I started following her on Twitter, and then I saw the announcement that she's going to be on King of the Nerds season 2.
Yeah,
and
and
that's awesome.
That had surprised me.
She was
too.
definitely one of the more entertaining contestants.
Well, that surprised me too because I kind of thought after the Tester, like we had her on the show before her episode aired, and I got the feeling that she wasn't too happy with the way things turned out on the Tester. So I kind of was surprised when then she showed up on King of the Nerds.
Well, did you watch like the first episode?
I did
because she was singled out by her team, right?
I did, yeah.
So it's like, oh no, the curse continues. She's getting kicked off first before everybody.
Yeah, no.
But they did a twist, and it was stupid. But she saved herself. She got saved.
Yeah, no. I mean, she's great. And
it was a great show.
It's funny thanks to Twitter and things. You start to kind of like really get to know people, and you start to learn like reality TV really is like there's the one like narrow perception of somebody.
Oh yeah. Like I never like buy into the fact that that's actually reality.
Yeah.
It's like, oh yeah, Frankie wasn't fed any hints to go along further in the game because it's just such a huge fan base watching the show on Big Brother.
And I'm friends with somebody that was on one of the shows that was hated by everybody. But I'm like, he's a cool dude, and it's just the way.
Hey, he was one of my favorites that season. So I don't know why people hated him.
I don't know either. All right. Anyway, that's it. I guess Flaco and I are left here to talk about reality television all night because you guys aren't calling in. So I hope you're having fun, whatever you're doing. I guess just too many people standing in front of a cave on Destiny, shooting it over and over again to get loot. I think that's what's happening. There's everybody shooting the cave, or they all ran off to get Fibbage. I'm hoping that's what happens.
I hope that's what it is. They're all like, we can't call in the show tonight because we all started playing Fibbage, and
right.
we'll just catch the podcast.
That's right. We'll just catch the podcast.
That game's awesome.
All right. Well, it is a show where every gamer has a voice, so we encourage you to lend us your voice at participate at orangeloungeradio.com or, of course, on Twitter, twitter.com/OLR. Checking in with Loki one more time for any other stories.
No, I'm searching on how to kill the trumpet vine because that is what is growing in my backyard.
Oh, no.
And fuck that thing, seriously. It's bad. Like, if I'm lazy and I cut the vine off and just throw it on the ground, it'll fucking root up right there and just grow again. I'm like, it's like a fucking hydra or something. It's seriously terrible.
All right. Well, good luck against the garden monster. All right. Awesome. Well, Flaco, then I'm going to say thanks a lot for being here tonight. Thanks for filling in for Dark Soccer at the last minute.
No problem.
I know you had to use your phone to do the stories, but
That's
appreciate
okay.
it.
It's okay.
And I know she appreciates it too because she had, she wasn't expecting to lose her voice and what have you. But you're welcome. Despite me taunting you over your jokes, you're welcome here anytime. You're a great support for the network, and we appreciate that. And if you think about it, probably wouldn't have got that interview tonight if I hadn't been thought to looked at Fibbage thanks to you. So
maybe not, and it always goes back to Shane, doesn't it?
In a way,
it always goes. And
Shane's your pusher.
Yeah,
Shane is a pusher.
Oh, and then my plug. Everybody, how many people are logged in the chat right now? Well, go if you're logged in the chat. Maybe you're logged into VOG. Go look at my latest article, the fall movie preview.
There you go.
See, plug. And rank those movies. I think last I checked, there's like 7 or 8 people ranking them. So
That's right.
I ranked a lot of people listening. Go rank the
Free
movies
points,
just for
check
fun.
that out.
Yeah, free points.
Get a link up.
You get 3 points for logging, or 5 points for logging in the show. You need 3 points for doing that. So
and I got loot.
Bonus
I think
points
that loot
tonight.
was from when you guys did Dragon Con.
I think Bobby finally retconned the loot.
I love
nice,
that loot. I
shut
love
you
the
up.
half hand. That was the best. Did Bobby do that too?
There's some funny, I know.
I like a lot of the loot. It's really funny.
I know we haven't done a lot of raffles lately because we haven't had a lot of prizes in the pool to give away. I'm going to really try to get stuff at FanFest and BlizzCon so we can try to bring back the raffles.
I have a bunch of Steam codes I can offload on you.
Maybe we'll set up a raffle for next month. But anyway, you got to check out some of the loot because we have a lot of funny in-jokes on the loot and I actually sit there and think of funny shit to put on the loot. And I don't how many people have gotten the hashtag tag? Probably,
I got it.
5. So
I love it.
Check that out over at vognetwork.com. Anyhow, thanks again, Flaco, for being here. Besides that plug, any other final thoughts for our listeners tonight?
No, not really. Just glad to be here. Glad to be the laugh track of the show because I can't stop laughing. I don't know.
Well,
why.
last week we had a live studio audience. Somebody
I know that was great.
Somebody
I love
commented on that to me. Like when Jonas and Diego are there, it's like you guys have a live studio audience. Because they have very big laughs. So
you just got to bring me in next time Dan's here. I'll sit in the background and I'll just laugh the whole time. I love when Dan's on.
Dan's
I
a funny
crack
man.
up. I'm laughing in my car. I must look like an idiot.
That's
what
not
is
why.
that guy
There's
listening
plenty
to?
of reasons why you look like an idiot, Flaco. That's not one. I'm kidding. All right. Loki, thank you, of course, for being here as always. Your final thought for our listeners tonight.
My final thought is maybe I'll take a break from working on my game to dust off the Minecraft server.
Play one fucking game this week, Loki. Play one.
Like I said, I downloaded a few games on my Steam backlog because I was going through and I'm like, what the fuck is half of this shit that I have? I'm like, when did I get Sniper V2? Oh, that's right, it was free. It's just I keep downloading stuff anytime I see an offer for a free Steam code, I'm like, oh, I'm going to add it to my backlog. I have 280 games on there. It's getting ridiculous. So I'm going to try maybe playing some Road Redemption. Hopefully that runs okay on my system. And I don't know. I'll see what else. I haven't console games. I think maybe the next console game I'll play is going to be Borderlands, I think. Borderlands a pre-sequel. That looks kind of fun.
Yep.
And then Call of Duty after that. I'm actually looking forward to Call of Duty, so we'll see. I wish I could get PlayStation 4 or something. I need to get job and money, so.
Well, good luck on that. By the way, if you are local and you have a job for Loki, he could use it, right?
Yep.
Do you know your last day at your current place yet?
Yeah, the 30th. So, yeah, I know that already. And actually, I have, my coworker knows someone that's a headhunter in the game industry, so she's wants me to contact this person. I'm like, okay, well, I don't think there's really
the only bummer is that if you get in the game industry, I might lose you to a conflict of interest. I'd hate that. I mean, I understand you got to do what you got to do for yourself and your family, but
no, I don't. I honestly don't think it'd be anything I could. I don't think there's anything really out there for that.
Well, you never know.
Not in this area. There's not.
You never know. You've been on the side of the retail sales. There's people at these companies that want people with your skill set working for them to get the game. So you never know. You never know, Loki.
We'll see.
We'll see. All right. Anyhow, my final thought tonight, I want to thank everybody for tuning in and listening. And as I always say on the show, if you like what you heard here at Orange Lounge Radio, please tell a friend or two or 17 about the show. Even though we are the internet's longest running program about video games, it's a very small audience we have here because all we've got is word of mouth. So please tell a friend about the show, and would really appreciate that. It does go a long way. A nice 5-star review on iTunes or Stitcher Radio or wherever it is that you heard about this show goes a long way as well. By the way, with iOS 8, podcasts is now a mandatory app again on there. So everybody who's using an iPhone or whatever has a podcast app now. So just tell them to put Orange Lounge Radio in the search, and they can find it. The other thing I just want to say real quick for my personal final thought is that I'm going to be undertaking a project on my Twitch channel, which I know everybody's live streaming these days, but I'm hoping you'll take a minute to check out what I'm doing. I am going to play Final Fantasy IV. I'm going to challenge my gamer ADD, and I don't know if I'll be successful or not, but my goal is to stream the entire thing, start to finish. Not all in one sitting, people. But I'm talking about when I stream games, I'm only going to stream Final Fantasy IV for the next couple weeks until I play start to finish. That's my goal. I don't know if I'll do it, so I'm going to need a lot of encouragement if you guys even like it. But if you guys think it's stupid and you're like, no, go back to hardcore Diablo or whatever, then I'll do that too. So we'll see. So, all right. That's going to do it for another week here at Orange Lounge Radio. Thank you guys so much for tuning into the show. Really appreciate the support. We'll be back. Dark Sakura ought to be back next week. We'll catch up with her. And more gaming news, of course, next week on Orange Lounge Radio. Have a great week, everybody. Thanks to Mike from Jackbox Games for being here tonight. Really appreciate it. And thanks to all of you who tuned into the show, be it live or on the podcast feed. We couldn't do it without you. Have a great week.
You've been listening to Orange Lounge Radio. Orange Lounge Radio is a production of OLR Studios. To join us for a live show, tune into VogNetwork.com Sunday nights at 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern. The views and opinions expressed in this program do not necessarily reflect those of the staff of Orange Lounge Radio or Vog Network, but you know they were all still true. See you next week.